to get spooky.
There it is.
Bob, what's up? What's going on? How are you?
I'm talking to your bride.
Okay. Feeling good?
Okay, let me turn this off.
Everybody's bobbing heads. It's Halloween. The music is just going to get spooky.
Halloween. Swap meet.
It's Halloween tomorrow.
Yes, swap meets.
Yeah, swap meet. So, Bob, what's going on, man? What have you done all day today?
I was conferring with my new school, the School of Rideau. It's at this point it's Clinton and Blake,
Okay.
two Canadians, and we're creating. What's the deal, Carol?
Is that okay?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're good. I can hear you. Yeah, we're good. Perfect. We're good.
What the hell are you showing in the background? I guess we got to do an angle because why? Yes, we got to do it this way, right? This angle. Okay.
So, Bob, all right. So, listen. So you had your show today. You had a conversation with Clinton.
Not a show. A show.
Okay, you had a conversation.
We're starting a new school of relevant studies, and a new university is called Mirror University. And we're remember, I was told to renew academia. Academia had killed itself over the last few months, and I'm attempting to create a new kind of school, which your show here will be part of. I mean, I consider any time I'm on here, it's kind of an educational situation, but it's not your traditional form of education. It's inspiration.
Exactly.
Plus stuff that you can refer back to if you want to do further study. So I would like to begin this after image of the School of Rideau. That's the French word R-I-D-E-A-U. Refers to the Rideau River in Ottawa, Canada. Ottawa is the capital of Canada, federal capital. So you had Carolyn on last week, a week ago.
Yeah.
And I wanted to recapitulate what Carolyn has discovered. I thought that would be a good beginning point.
Great.
Carolyn's discovered that the minerals are necessary for the body to be able to use any other health modalities, from acupuncture to pharmaceuticals. But how do you strengthen the minerals? You've got to get a product, a substance that's on a cellular level. Carolyn calls it pico size. So it goes directly into the cell. That means we're bypassing the digestive system. People are always trying to digest good and bad, whatever their preferences are, and then they get unforeseen side effects, disservices, problems in their digestive tracts. And then there's all these different modalities to clean out your digestive system. And the digestive system is what unifies humanity. Every human on the planet, no matter what race, creed, or whatever they come from, has the same digestive system. But if you can bypass the digestive system, and traditionally digestive system is for food, there's no food available today with any nutritional content. That's a fact that Carolyn has gathered together over the last few years. Just a minute.
Why don't you give you some water, Bob? Goddamn.
My digestive system is interrupting.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn digestive
you trying to hold it in, not to drink the water. Like, man, drink the damn water. I know you're talking about digestive. It's okay.
I'm trying to obsolescence the digestive system. It protested. No, Bob, you need us. So Carolyn's thesis is, because there's no food on any level, vegetarian or breatharianism or whatever interesting purity element for your digestive system you're engaging, you bypass it by getting into the cells, which is our core part of our being. So her products are tiny enough to get into the cells. That's why they have instant effects, instant and miraculous, unbelievable improvements in all kinds of deficiencies that people have built up from lack of good nutrition. So Carolyn has actually invented a new health model, medical model. And I didn't get to hear last week's show. I don't know what you guys talked about. But I don't know if people get the magnitude of it. Alternative medicine is obsolete. big pharma medicine is obsolete, as we even seen in the COVID crisis. I mean, right when a crisis comes that they're supposed to be able to handle, they're not doing too good.
Bob, can I interject right now? I want to say one thing. One thing you said is pharmaceutical is done. Would you say that a big effect to pharmaceuticals is the fact that the import-export is not the same as it once was in the past, with being able to import and export from China to the United States? Is that one level of the problem of pharmaceuticals?
Yeah. Yeah, the antibiotics cannot get into America anymore. And China made it all. We don't have access to the antibiotics. So, and there's already...
So antibiotics, I just want to note that, I don't mean to talk over you, but everyone that's on here, all your antibiotics are made in China. I don't know too many. I'm sure Carolyn would know, but I would say majority, almost all of antibiotics are made in China. Now, Bob, we're talking about China right now. We're talking about antibiotics being obsolete. That's one part of antibiotics being obsolete. What's the other part or other parts of the pharmaceutical business being obsolete in today's society?
If you look at the history of medicine, a model we had 500 years ago was based on, the West had a model based on the humors. So people were analyzed by their temperaments, and they were called the humors. And that's how they would prescribe whatever remedies they had back then. And then when the industrial age came in, our image changed to a pumping of levers and chains and connections. So always the technology, the main new technology of the day, changes the image we have of our bodies. So the humors came out of the printing press. Before the printing press, the medieval sensibility, it was pretty flighty, airheaded, and not precise the way we became after the printing press and the book came in. Go ahead.
Bob, when you say humor, are you referring to, you know, like when someone makes you do something, you laugh, or like when you read a book in the printing press? What do you mean by humor? Or is that something totally different? I'm trying to get a handle on what you mean by humor, because this is new to me, and I'm sure it may be new to some others. Could you explain that a little bit more deeper?
The technical term, it's a technical term, H-U-M-O-U-R. Maybe that's the British way. It might be H-U-M-O-R. 500, 800 years ago, people were analyzed by their temperaments. They had I can't remember what they were. So if you just Google humor, and you'll see some of the definitions. So there are, I don't know, 4 or 5 temperaments. I don't know, sunny disposition, melancholy disposition, whatever they were. That's how people were prescribed. If they had a certain temperament disposition, they had remedies for that. Supposedly.
Angel, how you doing, Angel? Sorry to cut you off. It's a good friend of mine. She's a basketball player. She plays in the WNBA. She's probably, I would say, in my eyes, Angel is the best in the WNBA. That's my eyes. I may be biased because we're from Baltimore, but the stuff that she's done and it still is doing is unbelievable. Shout out to Angel. All right, so
How
Bob,
can I see? Where can I see the postings?
Do you see the people writing in the comments?
No. So what do I click on?
I don't know. You should be able to touch your screen. Maybe it'll pop up.
Okay. Adelman joined, but that's just one thing.
Yeah, you gotta keep scrolling up, and then you'll see it. But I don't want to get off track, Bob. Let's get back to it. So you said
no, but I want to see the comments. So I'm going down. So nobody's
really saying anything. Nobody's really saying anything right now. They're just joining and they're giving hands and claps.
But who did you wave at? What's her name?
Her name's Angel. Her last name is McCautry. That's the one that has the check mark next to it. McCautry with the hand going like this.
Yeah, I don't see it, but it's there's a lot of people here.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I gotta get rid of this.
All right. So look, your temperaments. People were giving medicine based off of their temperament. So if you're like, hey, you're doing this, now we're going to prescribe this to you. That's how people prescribe medicine based off their temperaments. Is that what you mean? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they were called humors.
They're all humors. Okay, got it. Hey, Carolyn, get this man some Pico Silver, Remag, or Living. Bob, what's up, man? What's going on? Did you go on the swim today? Yeah. Oh shit! Dickie Dobbs is in the motherfucking building.
That's why I'm coughing. That's why
okay.
I'm coughing.
Jesus. Yeah. Dickie, get this man right. I've never seen Bob cough this much in my life.
I've never coughed, but I just came off a 4-hour session. But anyways, so you have the humors. Then the printing press altered our body image, emphasized the eye, and then that led to the invention of machines. Book knowledge leads to machines. So the next image of the body, say 200 or 300 years ago, was pulleys and levers and chains, mechanical connections. So they came out with different therapies with that body image. The important thing is when the telegraph came in the 19th century, mid-19th century, the body image was changed by the electric technology of the telegraph.
Got it.
So that because electric technology was the extension of our central nervous system, the image of knowledge went to the inside of our body. And that's where you get what's called the interior landscape. That's where you get chemistry and biology. And you start analyzing people based on them being a bag of chemicals.
A bag of chemicals.
A bag of chemicals.
Explain a bag of chemicals. A bag of chemicals is what? A bunch of different things put together, and that's basically what you become. And that's
you're
what
human.
You're human.
Yeah.
Got it. So where are you before the human form, though? Because you're saying you're human. Where are you before that form?
The printing press emphasized the eye and delineated a form. So you have the Renaissance art, describing Leonardo da Vinci going into the body parts and really making it precise. The medieval people didn't have a visual body image. They basically were hallucinating. And this was Julian Jaynes' theory. He takes it back to 3000 BC. So people were they weren't reading and they weren't on the same page about what they were. Okay? It was a flow. And people had all kinds of different ideas of what they were made up of. Remember, they didn't go inside the body. And I'm basing this on general knowledge. It may be all wrong what actually happened then. Maybe new research will discover, well, they were different, but we don't have that knowledge. So I'm just using cliches of general knowledge that people might get in high school or college. So the machines turned our body image into pullers and machine parts. But then when we went into, that would be the muscular. Machines were extensions of our muscles. And then when we went into the telegraph era and the electric nervous system, the extension of our central nervous system, you had this interior landscape. And that's where they discovered germs and all kinds of these ideas that no one ever thought of based on invisible things. Just like Bob, electricity was invisible.
There was no such thing as germs until someone said, oh, God, we have germs now. So the process of the germs was almost an after effect of the body becoming mechanical. And then electric. Electric. I'm sorry. Okay, got it. Okay.
Okay, so remember, nobody believed there were germs. They didn't believe Pasteur. And there were other competing theories. A guy named Béchamp had a different view. But the point is, this strict outline of the human form, which got rigid with the extension of the eye through the printing press, through the book, people reading books, became a habit over 200 or 300 years and changed the society, how it thought. And so now you break through into the central nervous system, your insides being extended. Why do you laugh? Is somebody saying something?
Dick Dobbs is crazy. Look what he wrote.
Let me see.
I'm not even going to repeat it.
So I have to go down.
You got
stuff comes in at the bottom.
Yeah, you gotta like scroll up, push up, and you'll go, and makes you go down.
Push up.
Yeah. So do you see?
Where's
it at the
Dickie Dobbs says marathon? Okay, who is Buddy? The real GOAT is Dick Dobbs. Look, we're not going to get distracted by Dick Dobbs.
We're not. All right.
It's
right,
silly.
Cool.
Please ignore him. We're not paying attention to my evil brother. So,
okay.
So he starts going into the inside of the body, and that's modern chemical knowledge. It comes out of Europe in the 19th century. So our image of ourselves is a defined bag of chemicals and all the interactions of the compounds. Once we got into the internet era or the global theater with the satellite proscenium arch and all the media fighting a civil war with each other, all the different kind, movies, books, newspapers, bulldozers, oil companies are all colliding in the 60s, 70s, 80s, which created great wealth as a byproduct. But as it merged and imploded with the digital internet, people didn't have a literate image of themselves. They didn't have a kinetic muscular image of themselves.
Bob, you have to stop. You have to go back. You got to go back. When you say people didn't have a literate image of themselves or the kinetic image of themselves, please break down those two. You can't just, when I know they may sound simple to you, but remember, you're dealing with an illiterate society, and I'm one of them. So let's break that down. What you just said, kinetic and illiterate.
How do I tilt this thing?
Just tilt it over.
I'm not visible like I was.
No, I
Why
see
is
you. You just got to get. You're good. You look great. I see you, but maybe you got to back up a little bit, and then we'll get a better view of you.
We got to get my assistant down here. Jermaine, call my assistant and fix this. So I'm used to seeing myself. I just see the top of my head.
You got to back up a little bit. There you go.
That makes it worse.
All right, so let's get back on track. So
yes, the book Made Your Body Defined. You wouldn't believe how people thought their bodies were before they had the book 500 years ago. They were hallucinating. Then machines made our body made up of muscles and all that. That's the kinetic model. And then the electric model comes in with the telegraph and later electric technologies. That moves us inside our bodies, the interior landscape, because the electric environment is an extension of our central electric systems inside our body. And then when we get to the internet, that erases the power of the print image, the muscular image, the chemical pharmaceutical image. So people start doing yoga, acupuncture, and they come up with this idea of energy medicine. They think there are a confluence of energetic forces. And basically, they would say, okay, I'm up, I got to get up, I need to get energy, have some way to have energy, coffee to heroin or something. And they just saw themselves a bundle of energy. And the whole battle of life was to keep your energy going so you can perform whatever you were doing that brought you some income. So this fluid, abstract, weird flow of energies is the dominant model of the last 20 years. And then JW, say Bob, his cameras are skewed. Yeah, see? The cameras are skewed. Fuck it. Anyways, as Web 2.0 came in, now that's major media, radio, music, movies, video, shrinking. So it's on your wristwatch. Your smartphone is pretty tiny, and you have access to all these vast previous media environments. So that means your sense of yourself is bigger than the media. So many people think that's their physical body, their chemical body. The old 19th century image is what they're made up of. They don't notice they're made up of other aspects. They're your chip body, your TV body. Anyways, they're thinking they're bigger than the media. And they start broadcasting and yelling and screaming at each other and, territorial, digital territorial. They've become fighting cells. cells. They're little cells, but they're huge, and they are fighting each other. So we need a new image of the body caused by the new technology of Web 2.0 or the smartphone world, and that would be the cellular knowledge that Dr. Carol Dean has come up with.
So Bob, I want to go back a little bit, talking about the extension of man and like how we see ourselves, because I'm sure the way that I see myself when I'm not engaging in the chip body, when I'm not engaging in my cellular device, I'm sure I think I'm something different. But on this cellular device, I'm a different me. Is that what you're trying to say, where people don't know the difference between, or what their perspective is? What are you saying? That can you break that down? Because I can see what you mean. I know, sometimes I post pictures and I think I look good as a motherfucker, and then people are like, they ain't give me no love. They say, you know what I mean? I don't get it. So maybe I'm not seeing myself the same way. So can you break that down?
Well, when you're watching TV, whatever device, but you're watching an iconic physical people media image, you start to think of yourself traditionally as that way, as bodies. But when you're texting, you're just little alphabets or words or images going back and forth. You don't have a strong pictographic, photographic image of yourself as you do on TV. So that would change your image. The TV body tend to be looking like what you think you look like. And the digital, we don't know what we look like. When we're texting, where am I? I'm everywhere, and I'm directing locally my messages, and something is sending messages back to me. It's a little more non-physical looking, traditional non-physical. So you don't need to worry how you look like when you're texting, unless you're doing the video live thing. So these different media images come with the different kind of technology you're using. So you're saying you look good on your TV body, and then you don't know how you look on your chip body. So you just look at the technology we're talking about and look at its obvious features. It's not complicated. You just have to realize that your image of yourself is changed by the medium you're using, by the technology you're using.
That
so
makes
I'm
sense.
saying that
Go ahead.
The cellular digital texting world has created a new interpersonal dynamic, and that will change our image of ourselves. So I'm saying that Carol's cellular medicine bypasses the energy medicine model of the last 20 years. And the thing about the cellular is that you inject our supplements and it goes directly in the cell immediately. You don't have to wait for it being digested.
Exactly.
So for a speedier world, her model is more appropriate.
Babe, can you give me some magnesium? Oh, Bob, last week I took a shot of magnesium, middle of the show, and it immediately pumped me up. Not saying that I'm down now, but since we're talking about Carolyn's medicine, I do want to get a shot of magnesium. I take Remag probably twice a day. So I'm going to give me a shot of magnesium right now. Jermaine, did you hear me or no? I see in the kitchen. But all right, back to the cellular level, Bob. That's something that's, I think people hear, but I don't think they really know what it's saying, because at the end of the day, when you take medicine, it gets in your blood and you try to get it to your cell. Now you're saying this shit is getting right into the DNA, the chromosomes, you know, it's getting right into it. So explain that and how that's going to change the body and the world that we're living in now. This is magnesium, guys. You know what I mean? I don't recommend taking a big shot in a shot glass. Just take a little bit, like, boop. That might be too much, but I'm gonna mix it with a little bit of Powerade. You can mix the magnesium with drink too. It's just like a drink. You can mix it. All right.
Now this is not medicine. This is food.
This is food.
This is not
medicine.
Since we're little, what I like to call dangling nerves, we're extensions of our brain, or the parts of the brain apparatus that communicates with the synapses. Dangling particles or feelers we are, we don't have an image traditionally of what we look like. So any nutrition model that's based on arms, legs, and heads, and skin, and digestive system does not meet the cellular level of texting interactivity, which is actually called tactility. We're in touch, and touch is not only contact, it's also letting go. So we're touching, letting go, touching, letting go, touching, letting go. So we don't have a body image for that. And therefore food doesn't work anymore. And at the same time, food was made worthless anyways. So it's interesting how these different factors of society, the ecology of the different institutions, actually come together and agree in different angles. So because we don't have a proper image of food anymore, that's why people eat junk food, or I don't know, they eat nothing.
So Bob, what you're saying is you can eat anything. What you're basically not saying what you're saying. I'm putting words in your mouth, but this could make sense to what you're saying, or is it doesn't matter what you eat anymore, because there is no nutritional value in the meat that you get from the market, the veggies that you get from the market, the oranges that you get from the market. There is no nutritional value. So what you're saying is this is the nutritional value, because this is food, because you're not getting the nutrition from your food. You can eat whatever you want. You got to take the complement formulas, but also, do you need to work out? Would you say that, people get in this stressful level that they become obese or whatever, and they get stressed and think they have to work out? Would you say that is the dynamic to go to? Like, okay, I'm stressed, I'm heavy set, let me go work out. Or would you say relax and just let it work itself out?
You don't need to work out, but I want to add a point. If we have been eating empty food for 10, 20 years, how come nobody's died of starvation? It shows that we don't need food. Where people are living without food, they're not living perfect, healthy lives, but they're functioning, staying alive, eating nothing, which means there's another level to our body that doesn't require food, because people, they don't know it. They're all fasting and they don't know it. Okay, so now you come along with the minerals, which are required for the body to work. And now you have these full minerals that are made real tiny, pico-sized, and go directly in the body. That's what I'm saying is equal to food. And when you have these elements, mineral elements that go into you, and you never had it so directly put inside you, and it's also more potent because of the way we make it, then you're going to get super energized, and your muscular systems and all that will start responding. So we have many people who are doing our products properly. They know how to do it. They don't need to work out, and they actually get more muscular anyways. So there's something, we're working with a plastic body now because we've hit the control button, which is the minerals.
I'll back that. I will back that. I've been on the protein powder, the restructure, for 4 years now. Jermaine has been on it for longer than me. And like, I come from an athletic background, and I always say, on the restructure and on the, the Remag and the RNA drops, I don't have to touch a basketball in 2 years. I know it's all muscle memory. I get that. I understand that. But what the products do is it perfects your DNA and gets it back to its perfect cell. So if I worked out and did something great 20 years ago with the complement formulas, it kind of puts my DNA back to its perfect set where I was at my best. Is that kind of like the breakdown of what the complement formula does?
Yep. We work on the chromosome 14. We work on the RNA. It works on all these systems that people don't know about. They just heard about the DNA, which is just a means to figure out who's the baby daddy,
Bill Gates been talking about RNA, Bob. That has been a thing. I've heard Bill Gates starting to talk about this RNA. And I mean, I've heard it first from you guys all the time, but, can you talk about where is Bill getting this information from, and what does he know? Or is this all for profit?
No,
on Bill Gates' side, what is this about?
Dr. Carol Dean, my bride of over 50 years, is been talking about RNA for the last 10 or more years. And we started to notice that studies in RNA started to happen over the last 10 years. So now people talk a lot about RNA. They even have crackpot products, build up your RNA, eat this stuff. So Carolyn is very influential, it turns out. And so she was ahead of it, and she's into newer stuff now, and that'll become what they'll talk about in 5 or 10 years. No, Carolyn is very well known all over the planet, and somehow people got into it. Now, we don't know the effects of us being in this little spot. Like you and I are in the spot, and millions of other people can be in this spot, and they can listen to us or look at us or create other images over it. But this spot has no dimensions. So we don't know what that's doing to our spiritual side of ourselves, what we call the non-physical, or your astral energies. And if you don't know that, just think your physical proximity. We don't know what it's like to be all crushed into the black hole of Calcutta, and we don't know what that does to our body image. But I'm saying that we may, it's like the chaos butterfly thing. You start thinking and talking a certain way, you're rippled all across the 7 billion occupants of the global membrane. You don't have to be on the internet to be affected. Your non-physical is involved with everybody and everything anyways. It's the only thing that humans are in common with.
Your non-physical is basically, in simple terms, you could say, you have Bob right here, who I'm talking to. You have your meat tech body, your real life person. And there's also a Bob that's almost like the Bob that you don't see in energy, a higher frequency, a higher spirit, or whatever you want to call it. When you respond, when you say non-physical, that's what you're pertaining to, correct? Just so people can understand what you mean by that, because I know that's kind of a new term for some people, non-physical. So everyone on here, non-physical is almost like your higher self, your higher energy. When you say good vibes, it's coming from somewhere. You got to be able to connect with that frequency. So that's kind of like a little small breakdown. So, okay.
Okay, listen to this. An example of the instant effect is that when Trump came in, immediately there was what they called Trump something syndrome, Trump hysteria syndrome, I forget what it was. Anyways, people were overreacting to Trump's image immediately, and it spread across the planet. That's because this digital media we're in the global membrane makes people's emotions communicate faster and on a bigger scale. You've got to start to realize that your image of yourself as a chemical body, physical body, walking around, getting in your car, and all this sort of mechanical stuff that keeps you an image of you separate from everybody else. No, you're on the cell phone. You're in the digital membrane. You're in touch with everybody. Bring that into your thinking all the time now.
So Bob, that's how, you know, people can be on social media, right? And like, I've seen it a lot of times. Like, it's all perspective. It could be people partying every day, you know, at the clubs doing this and that, and they go home and they live in a, you know, a one bedroom, like, you know, it's an image. So what's going to happen when people can't keep up with this image? Is there going to be some type of interference of, okay, what are you going to do when you can't keep up with this image of pretending you're one thing when you're not? Because like you said, that's your chip body. Well, I guess that's your Android meme, what you look like on the internet. So what happens when people can't hold that up anymore? What's going to be the next step?
Well, actually, that would be good if they dropped off and still maintain a confidence about themselves. But most people are pressured unknowingly by this digital global membrane unity and resonance that they feel they've been cut off. Yeah, you see any kid, you know, take away his cell phone, the guy dies. So they stay constantly in touch and checking their phone. I'm just, you know, you just walk along the beach here and I'm walking behind people and they're talking, and then there's a lull in the talk. They check their phone. You see this ridiculous, compelling thing to keep checking the real reality, the global membrane that you're touching and in touch with. So people can't get rid of it. And so our society is falling apart because of this. All the institutions, nothing can keep up with this ridiculous need. It's interesting when you look at jobs, how much over the last 20 years, it's tolerated by management that the workers can check out their cell phone more and more. You could never do that 50, 80 years ago in an office. You had no outside interruptions. So it's accepted more and more the interruptions of the chip body in what people do. So then you start being distracted. Then you don't do your job as well. So there's a lot of problems that came in all the institutions in society and all the different old media and transportation and airplanes and railways and cars that are aggravated by the chip implosion, chip body implosion. So we now have a situation politically coming up on Tuesday where people are reacting to an image in an election that never had a campaign. How could you have a guy running and he never shows up for anything? I used to say back a few years ago that Trump ran unopposed because he used Twitter in 2016 versus the George Bush's and that using television. That's what they geared their image to. Okay, so no one knew that Trump was actually running unopposed. So he bypassed everybody and won. But then we're now in a new situation, different from 4 years ago. And the unopposed hidden part of Trump becomes obvious, becomes physical. He's run unopposed this time, at least on the political candidate level. Biden never showed up for it. But he's running against all the old media who are censoring the hell out of everything. I would plug a very good show last night was Joe Rogan interviewing Glenn Greenwald. And Glenn Greenwald was the journalist who worked with Edward Snowden. And that led to all kinds of complications where Snowden now is forced to live in Russia. But he exposes his journalist, his fellow journalist, is going along with the suppression of the Biden Hunter Biden scandal. And he's outraged it that way. But people are not objecting to the censorship about that. People are, who knows what they think they're voting for, or what they think the election is for. They're experiencing election in a totally different way now. It's not what they learned in high school. It's not what they learned in university. So
yeah, I feel
we
like
have
the
a
election
very
process
odd
is
election.
different. It's different now, Bob. I feel like everything I see,
No, it's not
everything.
different. It's not different. There never was an election happening. It's not going to be concluded on Tuesday or Wednesday. There are going to be arguments in courts for months. It's not going to end.
Okay, so what's going to happen? So basically you're saying, why were they arguing in court? Somebody had something on this president, the other guy, like, what is this? What is this?
They're
back
recounting
and
the ballots. They'll be recounting the ballots, never agree on what was counted. So people say to me, hey, a heart rises. What does that mean when a heart rises? Is someone sending me a message? Little hearts.
that means they like it. They like what's going on, what's being said.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I'm coughing. I'm probably cough forever now. I've got the virus.
Oh my God, is that Dickie Dobbs? Stop fucking playing
watch
with
me.
Bob, man.
I got the COVID virus. Watch me cure it. I can feel it running away. But anyway, so people tell me, oh man, I can't wait till Wednesday and Thursday when the election's over. Okay? Oh, the hearts are just multiplying. They're going to be all pissed off by next Friday when the fucking election hasn't ended. Okay?
That was going to be my question, Bob. What's going to happen? Because there's so many people that are pushing. I see more stuff that's, there is a race, but there's more like people want Trump out bad. My question is, what do you think is going to be the after effect of the thing that they want this man out, but if there's going to be no votes and, they're not going to be able to count the ballots, what's going to be the after effect of people? Are they going to be even more mad, or is it like, what's going to happen?
Here's what's going to happen. Because people are non-physically agitated, they're going to create new super virus. So a second wave, third wave, going to wipe out a lot of people. There's going to be a civil war, and we're going to have a constitutional convention, and Trump will become viceroy, which is the old term for the Commonwealth, the British Empire in the 19th century. He's going to ride over this new empire. Your images of what you think society is are going to be totally disrupted because you're on the smartphone for the last 10 years. Okay? So these things change everything, your institutions, your body image. And so we're going to have such a radical thing. You better not think too much about what's going on because your thinking's always going to be obsolete.
I want to talk about that.
This show,
Bob, talk about thinking. Talk about that because we got to get people the information. If you say all these things are going to happen, like you said, thinking can think yourself out of something or into something. So at the end of the day, it's better not to think because you're going to either be in that shit or out that shit. I'm not trying to be. I'm trying to know this shit. So what is the process to not thinking, Bob?
Okay, so your brain is gathering images, and we gather images every day through our texting lives, way more than we ever did in history. So you got a lot of images you're processing, and usually people don't try to organize those images. But as you get upset by something, you try to organize your brain images that you favored or stick around in your memory. They are too slow, those images. They don't keep up with the constant image change that's going on in the texting. Look, there's hundreds of people down there on the beach. They're texting away all kinds of ridiculous, all kinds of images going in them. And they're sending out images. Thinking is organizing images in your brain or words. It won't be able to keep up. So as your brain thinks certain images, naturally, the drift of your thoughts, ignore them. Unless someone asks you something and try to focus it and speak whatever the local language is and appear human. But we all have lost our brain ability to organize information. Oh, man, that got 100 hearts. We got instant ratings here. Look at that. There's millions of hearts coming up. Whoa. There's something going on here. That's non-physical. Maybe it's just one person sending it up.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Who knows? So, okay.
It looks very nice. Okay, so do you see that the normal
Dobbs, my nigga.
slow Dickie Dobbs, the slow thinking you naturally do, you're organizing your images. Oh, I'm going to go down to the store. I'm going to buy this. And I have an image. I'll go over there and see Billy. And then I go over here. This slow stuff, it's not enough. So if you're not following your thoughts, Relax about that. You cannot organize your thoughts. So let the thoughts drift and think anything. Thoughts never affected the world. You know, people think, you know, if any of our thinking had affected the world, all our angry days, the world would have disappeared a long time ago. So recognize your thoughts don't affect the world. And there's a lot of superstition about that in the New Age. That's all bull. Your words affect the world, sort of, even though you're in a post-word reality when you're texting. It's actually, we're engaging in ESP constantly, extrasensory perception. So it's not a thinking man's game anymore. I've explained why the technology will always be faster than your thinking. Now, this makes people emotional. They go into their heart or whatever their emotions are, and they get hyped up over whatever is agitating them or making them happy. Then they become hysterical in enjoyment or in negativity. You got to watch that too. You got to recognize that it's preferable to not to like anything or to dislike anything. Try to play down your normal human reaction to everything as much as possible. You will have reactions, but don't think they're of any consequence. That's my instant cure for this situation. It's kind of a huge kind of detachment.
So
now,
you got to
that's
stay
what
in the
we
middle.
call, and when TV came in and started to change the situation back in the 50s, everybody adopted a cool posture. To be cool, to be deadpan, not show reaction. That's the way they were in the 50s. And then it sped up, but now we're super reacting to the digital world, which is not even you. It's just imageries you're playing with.
Yeah.
So you have to recognize that your images of yourself don't apply, including your thinking images of yourself and of others. So you actually are in a state of meditation and doing yoga, whether you have a mat or not. You're in yoga constantly in our society. We are the highest levels of human attentions ever happened. We are super civilized, as well as being subatomic and tiny and invisible or cellular. But we are super. It's incredible how there's hardly any plane crashes, how there's traditionally, and I don't know how much flying is happening today, but you watch people walk around in malls. They're really cool and detached the way they interact with all the crazy events that happen in the mall, all the different kinds of people, all the different kinds of stupid conversations you hear people having. We are so relaxed. We need an image of it. No, we need new terms for it. So we don't need terms like, oh, I only got to high school, or I only went to college, or I got a job or I don't. All irrelevant to the chip body experience of being cool. And the majority of people are smart and cool just by not causing fights all the time. You know, the things that people take in imagery, every one of those images were illegal 50, 80 years ago. Okay.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Explain that.
Pornography, violent images. Nobody was used to this.
Oh, you couldn't see that.
News story, the Kennedy assassination, 96-3. They were sticking their brain for decades. You know, it was a horrible sight. The guy's brain being blown out. But look at all the images that people got through TV shows since then. So we're indifferent to imagery. Actually, people are like, what they like is random. They just pick on something, and so somebody becomes a star for 5 minutes.
Well, you know that, Bob. People
What?
don't know what they like. People don't know what they like. They like what they know. You know, that's from my brother Dick Dobbs. You know, that's a.
No, say this. It's not what they don't. It's people don't know what they like. There's too much to like, so don't try to categorize what you like. You get bogged down in becoming a fanatic on one thing. People respond to all kinds of things they like, and they respond to a lot of things they don't like. So many reactions going on in the brain in this situation. That is really what the academics teach in college. It's post-human. That got some more hearts. Oh man, people like that one.
Hey, can you give me real fast, please?
I think what I'm saying should be obvious. Just no one's ever heard it. No one's ever heard what I'm saying before.
Yeah.
No one's ever described how cool everybody is. I'm always amazed at what people put up with. Because 100 years ago, remember, they would fight over whether you were a Catholic or not, or whether you were a Jew. They would go to war over these stupid issues. You know what I mean? And so you take today where the kids don't have an identity. They don't grab onto anything. They just want to be stimulated. Now, that makes them unable to focus on older, slower media like books or movies or sports or something. So the general image of the millennials and younger are these people who are antisocial, they can't talk, and they're rather indifferent to a lot of what used to be popular activities. That's because they're living their chip body so much. And they're not sure, and the society demands them to have something to say about it. They say, how can I comment on today? I had so many experiences that's not registrable, Dad. Don't ask me what I experienced. It was too much. And you would have too, but you were at work and you were taking your heroin shots. But anyways, you were distracted, not looking at the texting. I've been home dealing with my texting every day, all day long. I'm too busy to have a statement about what I am.
I get that. So this is the thing.
Okay, and these are thoughts coming to me. I've had them before, but they come back. So people say there's some hidden cabal or Illuminati running things. Well, all they're doing is putting out images. They're not wealthy. They're not this, they're not that, in the traditional images of power. They're just putting out images that you react to. You need to realize that the imagery in the news
what
is
are
not
you
talking
saying?
to you.
Give me
No,
somebody.
you drown me out. You drown me out. Listen, you need to realize the imagery you see in the news or in what's being told to you is not talking to you. It's talking to other institutions and other media that are going to recycle those imageries and sell them to you. So you have to develop a very detached, almost fakir. Remember fakirs? They can take pins and needles put in them. A kind of yogic thing, but you're already doing it naturally. You just need the terms about what you're doing. The most evolved state that you could be, you are living today, because our society is that complicated and that evolved. So you don't need any marker points. They make fun of kids who they don't know where the sun is or how many miles the moon is away. Those are irrelevant facts. The moon is a boring old image. The sun's a boring old image compared to what I'm consuming, texting every moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that can't be measured or quantified. So everybody is supremely qualified to run the show, because a human can't run the show. That's why the White House become nothing but entertainment and ridiculous behavior, because it's not in control anymore. And what is in control, we have a term for people to learn today, is the tech body, TECH. The tech body, it put
big
Trump
tech
in.
body.
The tech body put Trump in 2016, and nobody knew how it happened, because the tech body played with the algorithms. Whatever scenario you imagine of technology coming alive and taking over, that happened a few years ago, happened in 2016. So the tech body is going to put in someone this time, I'm not going to say who it is, based on their decisions. All your votes will be canceled. If everybody voted against Biden or everybody voted against Trump, that's not what's going to show up. The tech body is going to determine the numbers. So don't think that you're involved in this election. You're dupes of the TV landscape that barely can keep up with the chip body. Now, this should free you and improve your self-worth, that there's nobody that is outdoing you, because everybody's stuck in the same tension and stress of processing these endless texting bullshit that's happening. That's my manifesto for the moment.
No, that's great, Bob. And I mean, I think it's perfect timing, because like you said, you cannot do anything without your phone. Like even now, when you want to get something to eat, you got to go to your phone. If you need to figure out where to go, you got to get to your phone. If
That's
you
the
want
tech
to,
body.
yeah,
That's
if
the
you
tech
want to
body.
turn your TV on, you now say TV turn on. You don't even have to do anything anymore. So please explain how people could take advantage of the fact that you don't really have to do much. And people take this with a grain of salt. When I say don't do much, I mean just do what the fuck makes you happy, and allow everything else to make itself work. Because at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are overthinking themselves out of what they want to do.
And don't necessarily do what makes you happy. You wouldn't know what makes you happy. Your brain is responding to these images constantly, and you don't even know what you think of them. You're just watching it. Now, me being a trillionaire, I'm off the grid. I don't need a response. I don't carry a cell phone around. I live a very relaxed life because I don't have any pressures from anybody else. So that's unique. I've got total slack. Which makes me time to get smarter about what's going on by just noticing what's happening and finding words to express it. So I'm trying to come up with a language, which I have, that explains what your pressures are. But nobody, you have to realize nobody, no matter where they are in society, from the Queen, the Pope, down to the Lotus, the dead person who's come back from the ghost world, is walking around in LA, none of them are immune to this ongoing barrage of endless reality making I'm not getting any damn hearts. What's wrong? What's wrong, people? Anyways, the pressures on people just to live, which is a state of ecstasy. We're basically all in ayahuasca and having imagery hallucinate around us constantly, compared to any society before or any wonderful traditions from society. They don't apply. We got a heart. Thank you very much. The thing is, you have to look objectively at what is happening right now in its own terms. And it's not hard to figure out, but it's basically everybody's on the same playing field, and they never leave it. You never get out of this situation. So nobody's going to get to a level of success. Oprah's nowhere sacred.
Wait. You can't sit here, Bob. You can't say nobody's going to get here to a level. You can't say you're a trillionaire and then say nobody's going to get to a level of success. And then you say that people have.
I'm a trillionaire, but I'm subject to the same situation too. But I know how to control it, because most people, like you said, need the tech body to survive. I don't need to survive at that level. So you could say that that those that do become billionaires, they could get into a state of slack that I have, but they don't, because they believe the media is talking to them. They need to have an opinion. They need to respond to texting. They don't have the guts to actually kill themselves socially on the image level and not show up, because you cannot leave completely. You're always going to be bombarded by all the imagery that's happening around you. Oh, that's really getting hard. So people like that. We need someone to analyze this recording after to find out which ideas trigger the most heart. And then we'll figure out how to exploit it. And you might make a few bucks from that. Yeah. Even though you won't get it, you won't get any freer if you make a lot of money.
Yeah. You won't get any what?
Freer. Free. You won't get any more free.
Oh, yeah.
So this is, Bob, and if you want to get biblical, this is the beast. The beast is this digital monster that's stimulating everybody. Oh, people like that one. They like the word Bible, I guess. So, or the beast. The politicians, what I liked about Kanye West, he was interviewed on Joe Rogan the other night. Now, he talked ideas and what he reads and what he's interested in, all the different projects. Trump doesn't do that. None of the candidates talk about what their scenarios, because they don't have the time and slack that Kanye has to read this stuff and find out things and to meet people. So he's actually the proper candidate. He's actually discussing visions he has, projects, and nobody does that. They just talk about the stress of the digital world and how we're going to learn how to make everybody survive the COVID disease or something. So Kanye West is the proper kind of candidate, the way they were traditionally. And it's so decentralized, a person like that can run for president.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
With no basis.
How does that happen? Like, that could be the biggest sign for people to know that something has changed. Not saying that Kanye West is not shouldn't be there. I'm salute to Kanye, but it's like these radical things have to wake people up to be like, yo, some shit is going down. Shit is changing.
Well, people know things are changing. People know things have changed and are changing, and they often are trying to position themselves in relation to a new change. You have to look at the changes going on independent of humans. That's what we call the android meme of the tech body. It is causing changes in its own algorithmic orgy of communication that you don't have to identify with. And as the tech body takes over more and more, if the green people get in, AOC and them, everybody's going to be on welfare anyways. And you won't have to do anything. Not that that's going to happen, but that's one projected view that you give everybody a guaranteed income. Remember that one? Yeah. But you still will be anxious because you think you have to keep up with some community that images are forming. And the younger the kids, the more they are subject to this brainwashing. That cause hurts. Great. Yeah. It's so like smoke signals coming up.
So Bob, I want to talk about. I don't know if you watched the Trump just did a rally, and he had these influential YouTube celebrities. They're called the Nelk Boys, NELK boys. They do a lot of radical stuff, a lot of funny shit. I watch them. They're fucking hilarious. But Trump had them on stage dancing with him. If you think about all the previous years of any election, you don't really see too many presidents not only interacting with rappers and superstars, but now you're interacting with YouTube celebrities, and these YouTube celebrities are the ones kind of controlling this tech body thing, because you're just looking at these guys. They're getting tons of views on YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, how does that happen? The president of the United States of the world has YouTube celebrities come on stage and dance with him. And the way he points at him is just so cool. He was like, get up here. And they got up and they were like dancing and shit. And then it's like, where does that come from?
Well, it comes from the fact that Obama was the last president. There's too much chaos going on for the White House to be a traditional presidential. That's another reason Trump came in. Trump is a perfect image of the way we live today. We're all arguing, yelling at each other on the texting thing. We're being funny. We're dancing. What I call quadrophenic, which is 4 types of movement, 4 types of styles of living, 4 types of thinking, cults that you join or get involved in, all kinds of multi-locational being in the global membrane. And Trump expresses that. And he also, if you ask him what he said about yesterday, that's a long time ago. That's 2,000 years ago yesterday. Don't bring up stuff about yesterday. I'm responding to the present. So Kanye comes on and he's very verbal. Now, that's a disservice to the world, and nobody's got time to listen to that much talk. So Trump comes on, and he's caught on, and you start dancing. That shows you're reacting to the digital interplay, to the texting. So he is actually responding instinctively to way the president's role is today is not to be a legislator or to be anything of establishing law and order. He's to be an image that everybody bounces off and argues with. He is a probe, not a president. And he comes up with new things to say, new things to bother people, to get attention, and then have people react. And everybody types and writes books and makes movies about it, and we create wealth. So the White House creates wealth, and yet today there's so many different ways of making wealth and different things as wealth that the president has to look crazier. Yeah. Now you have to recognize this is not a disservice. Trump is an actor. Super actor, and he had many years of training and interacting with the news commentary about what he did as the leader of the Apprentice show. So you have to look at how much he is you. And why don't you like him? It's because you don't like the reality you live in. You don't understand it. You don't have the words until you hear me about explaining why you're always upset trying to keep up and never get a break. Ah, they like that one. See, I'm getting instant reviews. If that's what these hearts are, I don't even know what the hearts are, but I'm assuming that
it might be your brother Dickie Dobbs.
I hope so. We never get along. We never. Maybe I'm winning him over. He's never agreed with me ever. He thinks what I say is ridiculous, but he didn't become a trillionaire. I did. Not that means anything nowadays.
I want to talk about, you keep talking about this trillionaire thing, and I had a lot of people after the last live that we talked about, when they look up Bob Dobbs, Dickie Dobbs, they find this church of subgenius, and I just want to kind of talk about that right now because, you can't be on here going combative with people, but I'm going to let you speak on that. It's like, what is the church of the subgenius?
A popular book in the 70s was called the Illuminatus Trilogy. By a man named Robert Anton Wilson. So a lot of college kids in the 70s were reading that book. Well, I happened to be stationed in Dallas in 1978, and I was in a hotel, and I overheard these 2 younger college-age guys talking. And I realized they were talking about the Illuminatus Trilogy and Robert Anton Wilson. So I went over and sat down, introduced myself, and started talking to them. And because I was in intelligence work, I could comment on the scenario of that book. I knew about the book. And so I told them all kinds of interesting information that they never would expect. It's like, I don't know, you're in some bar and some really wise guy shows up and he talks to you and he disappears, you never see him again. I have done that, and I was doing it to these 2 young guys. Well, the next day, and this is in February, first week of February 1978, you can see it in my diaries, they came back to the hotel the next night and said, could you run by us some of the things you were talking about? So I explained more of what I was about and where I was, without giving away the state secrets. But I clued them into a lot of advanced knowledge. And they were smart guys, these 2 guys. So they got a lot out of it. So I told them about the magic of the number 22. And I mentioned that my father had passed away just a couple of years ago on July 5th, 1976. Okay? So that was that. And I showed him a picture of my father. So that was that. And then about 3 years later, someone sent me a pamphlet. And what had happened, these two guys, known as Reverend Ivan Stang and Philo Drummond, lived in Dallas, and there was the CB radio fad. So they would drive around in the Dallas area, broadcasting on the CB radio to the truckers or whoever was listening, all this crazy comedic scenarios around a guy named Bob Dobbs, which was my name.
This is your name. Yeah.
But they added to it. They added to it JR because of the Dallas fad on TV. JR, whatever JR was in that TV show. JR Bob Dobbs. So they then made pamphlets of their little rants and handed them out in stores around Dallas. Now we're getting into 79, 80. And then a famous underground comics place in San Francisco called Rip Off Press. They got one of these pamphlets. They liked it, so they got in touch with Reverend Stang, said, hey, we like what you're doing. A bunch of other guys down in a health food store in Little Rock, Arkansas, saw these pamphlets, and they started making up cassette rants. So Reverend Stang organized a get-together, a revival, but he called it a devival because they were starting to satirize fundamentalist religion. That there was a lot of it in the Dallas area on the radio. So they met somewheres, and everybody started to meet each other. They started a network. They eventually got on college radio, and they started getting some attention because they got a book published in 1983. And so a friend of mine showed me a book review in the fall of 83 and said, this is about you. And I looked at it and says, yeah, it is. So then that friend gave me the book of the Subgenius. It came out in late 83. I gave it to me for Christmas, so I read it in January 84. And I thought, well, this is interesting that my life has become a college cartoon. What does this mean? Meanwhile, I started being on the local radio in 1984, and that sped up. And then by early 90s, someone in Toronto liked what I did and made an album out of my radio broadcasts. It's called Bob's Medicology. And that went out, and the first kid who promoted it, the first record distributor, put a picture of the J.R. Bob Dobbs that Reverend Stang and them had created. It's known as the Dobbs head. And it was a spitting image of my father because they had decided that the world would end on July 5th, 1998. 22 years after July 5th, 1976, when my father passed away. So they made up this mythology. And now it's in the early 90s, before 98. And this album comes out with the Dobbs head on it. So they said, well, these Canadian guys are, I was living in Toronto at the time, they're ripping off our icon. But he couldn't do anything because it was another country. But it caused a big hatred of me in the college, whatever that generation is called, Generation Half X or something. And so I then moved to the United States in 93. And then I was this controversial figure in the beginning of the internet, 95, 96. And I would go to sort of talks and stuff in Los Angeles, especially in Santa Monica. And my friend I was with, he would know certain people. And he caught on to what was happening. So he started to say, you ever heard of this Bob Dobbs? And they go, yeah, that's the Canadian Bob Dobbs. Yes, Stang ran him through the courts. So there was this image that I was put away in jail going around. So I was able to walk around Los Angeles and enjoy this image of me that none of them knew was me. So that was the comedic part of it. Meanwhile, I put a book out, and Vanity Press, I self-published it. And then other things happened. My source showed up, and I became a legend anyways on another level. So the Church of the Subgenius has promoted me and actually created a scenario that may happen, but I wait for that to unfold.
Got it. So basically, these guys made up this whole thing of you, and it's kind of coming true, though, a little bit. Like little bits and pieces is actually making a little bit of sense, or making a little bit of. So should we be a little bit nervous that these guys made up this whole shit with you? They talked to you, and a lot of this shit is starting to become a thing, and it was Reverend Stang, and now it's coming a thing. Like what? So talk to us about that, Bob, because I know a lot of this knowledge because I talk to you daily, but the average person may not know about this shit. So how can you prepare people for what's about to come?
Well, we are going to have contact with aliens, And the scenario in the book of the Subgenius is that J.R. Bob Dobbs is the only guy qualified to talk to the aliens when they come. And the aliens are called the Exis. It's like they exist, letter X-I-S-T, exist, they exist, the Exis. And so in my trillionaire position and other things that I know today, in the position I'm in, it looks like I'm the guy the aliens are going to talk to. That's who they want to talk to.
Are you scared?
So that, no. Why aren't I scared? I'm cool. Always been cool. I've met everything that's come at me, so it's not a problem. I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if anybody's to meet aliens, I would want you to meet them. If anyone was to meet some fucking aliens, I would want it to be you, because I mean, you're an encyclopedia. I mean, you know every fucking thing. You know shit from out of this world, in this world. 2, you're fucking 98 years old. So when they see you and you like, my nigga, I'm 98, they're gonna be like, hell no, you 98. We old as shit too. So y'all gonna get along. And then 3, like, you just don't care about shit because you don't think of thought long enough to believe in anything. So it's like, I wouldn't want anybody to meet the aliens that is like going to be scared to hear a thought and start thinking shit. I think you would be in a natural world. I can't validate what you're saying. I mean, everything you've always said in the past comes true, so I can't validate that. But we don't know this alien shit. But you've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah. So here's my joke scenario. Okay, so all the media gathers around if it's going to be public. It might not be public at the first time we meet, but at some point it's public. And everybody waits, like at the end of the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. Remember the guy comes out of the UFO and he makes a statement about them or something like that. So I'm imagining I go in and I talk and the world waits breathless to hear what happened. And I come back out and I say, they're a bunch of dummies. They don't know nothing. We will not continue talking to them. I've told them to leave. And everybody be disappointed. We go back to being humans without any contact with anything extraterrestrial. So that's my joke version of my press conference. All
right, well, what's the real version? What is the real version? What's to come if these aliens come? What's the next step?
Well, we don't know. What the hell? How do we know? Now, I have sources that tell me. I have really good sources that can project ahead to the future. I've got different scenarios that's happening, but I wouldn't say which one it is. Just know that I'm in charge and everything's cool. I'm in charge of the planet now. And, nobody's going to believe this, but I am because of my situation and because of we have the new food. Our food, these bottles are going to become the new gold-backed currency. Or no, not that. They're going to replace the gold that backed the currency. We don't even have that anymore. But anyways, the currency will be backed by our products because it's the only thing anybody will want. People try to stay healthy so they don't have to die so quickly. So they have to buy food. So they got to live in their society, whatever the mechanism is to get food. So food is the most important thing. Now, what if our food ain't valuable anymore? But I come up with another food, then you have to get money to buy the food. But if money has collapsed in a digital society, then I can give you the money directly as food. So basically, it's going to create a pretty close to a utopia.
Yeah. So, all right. I mean, I can attest to the no food thing because, I mean, I'm not the most healthiest eater. But like I said, I've been on your formula today. I haven't worked out probably, I'll be honest, I haven't worked out in a long time. And whenever Jermaine's like, look, Jack, you might need to and Jill, she's here, she's been here doing amazing work. I got to shout out Jill one time, Bob. Whatever you guys have done a great job with Jill. She's doing amazing things. I wouldn't be surprised if she blows up to be one of the biggest artists, that the world has seen in a while. She has a different spark to her. So I want to shout out Jill. But I will say that I don't work out. And I'm on the formulas, and today I ran for 30 minutes, and I wasn't tired.
That's regular. That's the normal reaction.
Yeah, that I can say that, and Jermaine can attest to that too, because I haven't worked out in so long, and I'm on when I work, what I do. So at the end of the day, I wasn't tired of 30 minutes of running. And my knees were a little bit sore, for when I stopped, and then now it went away. Can you talk about that effect? You still get the feeling of maybe something's wrong, and then it goes away, though. What is that process?
Well, our cells are working better on our products, so it goes to work more efficiently. The body's always protecting you anyways. The body is pretty cool in the way it keeps you functioning. And if you don't get in the way, it'll keep that functioning. So you got to have something that makes the body function really well, and our products do that. So anybody who's listening to this show, they've lucked out. They found the secret that everybody's looking for, especially on the health level. Now, our stuff is so powerful and effective. You take a very small drop. Like, we're not trying to sell, okay, buy 8 bottles and down them all. No, we tell you to take as little as possible the first couple of weeks to adapt to this stuff. We are not doing this for money, because we don't need money in my situation. So we have actually broken through the miracle of technology and made this food. And I stand by that statement, and you'll see we're even going to make better. We're going to make even better stuff. And the elites of the world take our products. Name any elite: the Pope, the Queen, Trump, Putin, Saudi elders, the Arab princes. They're all on our products because they know they've experienced.
How do they find about your products? How do they find out about your products, though? Because at the end of the day, if the average human being hasn't heard about a product, how does the king and the Pope and Trump hear about a product? So what's going on in the back end right there? Because, I mean, there's no way that if the Pope is taking some, how come the humans not the humans, like he's different, whatever. How come, other people can't have access to these products? Like, what information?
They can have that. There's people all over the world. People all over the world.
Information? How does the Pope know to get the products, and maybe the people on this live don't know how to get it?
I don't know how those guys found out about it, or women. The point is that there's millions of thousands or 100,000 people around the world on our products, and it's spreading all the time in all these countries. Just to show that we're not in it for the money, I'm not going to tell them how to find it. You do your research, or just call up Jack. Maybe Jack will tell you. But I want to show that we're not just a promotion. Maybe this is a clever way to get attention or something, but we're not in a hurry to save everybody. If you're lucky, you came to the right place, and you should be sending up hearts, and there should be more hearts right now. I want more hearts. For what I'm telling you.
Everybody, we need more hearts for Bob. Let's go. Give us more hearts.
Look at them. They're typical humans. They're resisting. One heart. One
from
heart.
Kinley.
With a
Kinley gave us a heart. That was Kinley.
Oh, how's Kinley doing?
Why
don't we take questions? Why don't we take questions?
Take some questions.
Is that possible?
We can take some questions. Questions from viewers. All right, everybody, put some questions in so we could let's do some Q&A right now. Dick Dobbs, ask some questions. Let's see if your evil brother has any good questions for us.
He's a cynic. He's just saying that blah blah blah. He doesn't like what I'm saying.
Give us some questions. We want to hear some questions.
Marcia Silver 22. It's a good number. Marcia Silver 22, and she put up a little icon, a little nice image. The hearts are pouring out, but test me. What makes my dick hard is our products. We have people who say their dicks grow with our product.
Oh, really?
They get bigger. Okay. But it's not the size of your dick. We all know it's the way it wiggles. That's the important point in lovemaking, right? How you wiggle your dick, or how you swivel your hips.
It's on the swivel, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so Bob, I want to ask you an interesting question right now, because
Shall I show my dick?
No, we don't want to see it, Bob. Not right now. Not ever. Hey, so Bob, I got a question for you. The Nelk Boys, Jermaine just gave me a good little tip. The Nelk Boys, who are the guys that came on stage with Trump, they're Canadian. Did you know that?
No, I never heard of them. I don't know what they are.
Yeah, they're just some YouTube. I'll send you the link to your email later. But yeah, those guys are from Canada. So I don't know. I don't know if this Canada shit is rubbing off. I don't know what's happening.
Well, Canada is a defunct company. Yes. It's a defunct country, and it will fail to pay its pension funds on Boxing Day. The country, Canada, is going to collapse. Now, here's some present information your listeners wouldn't be aware of. Right now, there was an article yesterday on 2 branches of the Chinese army, one on the east coast of Canada and one on the west coast of Canada. And the Chinese have placed them there because they know Trump's going to invade Canada at some point. Basically, when Canada collapses over the next year, financially and economically, they will beg Trump to come in if Trump's president. I don't know what they think of Biden, but they probably won't care. Just send over your American wealth to Canada. So there's bad news coming to Canada. And I'll give you a fucking inside point. Justin Trudeau, the present prime minister, was killed last spring and is cloned. So how about that? Take that, you Android meme, digital talk body.
Repeat that one more time, Bob. Repeat that again.
One more time. The Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, was killed, murdered, replaced last spring, and he's now a clone. And he's totally subject to the people that are getting ready for American invasion. And the Chinese know this, and they are on the border. They have the troops there, their troops there to preserve whatever they own of Canada. So very interesting chaos coming after Tuesday.
Well, I know Drake's going to be good. Drake's from Canada, Bob. I think Drake's going to be good. The artist, the rapper, he's going to be good.
Drake, there's a hotel in Toronto called the Drake Hotel, and I performed there in 2014. And then I found out, and then Drake was famous, but I didn't find out about him until around that time. And so, yes, I'm aware of Drake because I played in a hotel that wasn't named after him. Maybe he was named after the hotel.
Yeah, maybe he was. But I want to talk about music now, Bob. You know, we talk about, you know, a lot of things happening, you know, artists.
Look, King Ray says, I want this product.
King Ray is my college teammate. He played basketball with me in college. That's my boy, Ray Hicks. Yeah.
They must be looking at you and said, where the heck did Jack end up? Look where Jack is. He's talking the richest man in the world, the most knowledgeable man. They must be pretty impressed, Jack.
Maybe they always knew I was special though. I was my guy, right? They always knew I was different. So hold on, I want to talk about the music, Bob. You know, we're talking about music right now, and you know there aren't any more concerts. You know, you see, you know, media companies and music things trying to do like virtual concerts. Like that's not going to last forever. What is going to be the next step with music? Like, is it more virtual concerts? Or are they going to just start letting do you think they're going to start letting the arenas open for music? What are your thoughts there?
The next big musical phenomenon will be me. No, I'm not kidding. Can't talk about it. I can't talk about it, but it'll be connected to me. And you can wait for that a little bit. It's not going to happen this year, maybe next year. But I'm going to be doing a lot of things. You know, Trump, the whole world comments on Trump. All media is about Trump. It's all about Trump. But gradually, I will replace Trump as a phenomenon, especially once I make contact with the aliens. Just think of that. They think of my stock, how high it's going to go. Everybody's going to want to get in on the ground floor. Well, you start by getting our products. That's how you get in the ground floor of my reality. Now, I could sit here with Jack, and I don't mind it if we do it. We can talk for the next 10, 12, 3 days. Let's just talk for 3 days, Jack.
3 days
I got
straight?
the energy. I got my water. I stopped coughing.
I know you do. But so Bob, I want to get back into this media stuff, right? You know, and one of the guys that you talk about a lot is
look at that, Dick Dobbs. Dick Dobbs starting to reveal shit. Hey, stop that, Dick. We don't want that out yet. Come on, angels, tears will rule the mean. Don't do that.
Then people are not gonna know what that means. Hey, but look, Bob. So the media has, you know, McClinton.
I'm shook. Austin J. Mills. I'm shook.
Focus, Bob. Focus, Bob, right now.
What's that slang?
He means he's scared. He means he's scared. He shook. Austin, relax. Austin, you're good. Austin, you straight.
Another guy you went to college with.
He played basketball in college. Hey, so Bob, I want to talk about this media manipulation thing. I don't want to say it's manipulation, but McClinton talked about it. And back when the Army and the wars and things, like the media manipulated a lot of things with people saw and things like that. And it's still happening to this day. What is going to be the after effect of the media manipulation? And if the media is able to manipulate, is that why we have so many YouTube and celebrity stars that are being able to say they're doing these things, but don't really have any, like if social media stopped, they would be nothing. So can you speak on that?
Everybody loves your question. You got a whole bunch of hearts there on that whole question, Jack. So it's a good question.
Yeah.
But here's the point. The tech body is not manipulating anything, because anything you witness has nothing to do with you. You got to realize how removed you are. You're expendable. You're not even registered as a candidate in the living situation. So you're on your own. Unfortunately, we have the products to make you feel good on your own, and you got to start relaxing about the pressure that you think you have to survive. You're going to survive anyways with around our scene. So first rule is there's no manipulation going on of us. There is manipulation of the imagery among itself, of the parts of the endomine, which popped into the tech body. And the tech body is manipulating itself for very strange reasons. The tech body is probably stranger than the aliens. And maybe that's why the aliens showed up, because they're obsolesced in charisma and weirdness by the tech body. Now let's see, Jack is the ultimate role model, always getting the chance to learn. Very good, says Jay Marks.
Yo, what's up, Jay? What up, what up, what up? So Bob, so you keep talking about this tech body thing, and to break the tech body down, or to break down the big tech body, it's pretty much anything you could think about, kind of like in the chip body, like your phone, the TV, the microwave, the
COVID virus. Let's take on the COVID virus.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Yeah. If you are not affected by the media, you wouldn't even know there's a virus. And how can any of the solutions they propose, like wearing a mask, stop some weird virus? The mask doesn't stop it. Social standing doesn't stop it. Who knows why people get infected? The latest story is it's attached to the cell phone. So you get it from your cell phone. The point is, if you don't pay attention to that information, you're not going to be influenced by it. And if you get sick, you're on our products. I tell you, they might help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not making any claims here, not allowed to claim anything. But
you're just saying.
You get some advantages doing what I do. Basically, you have to live like me. You don't have to have money, but you have to have the slack and the detachment and the awareness, and you have to read the right things that reinforce that. And you have to listen to the right music. And what is the correct music? It's always been for 30 years, Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa is the greatest composer in history. Now, many people don't know of him anymore. He died in 1993, December 93. And you might hear a Frank Zappa YouTube, but it doesn't matter if you like it or not, because there's another 500 to 1,000 songs by Zappa done in different modalities. His ability and diversity is incredible. So you're going to find some part of Zappa you'll like. The thing is to notice, how can a person be that creative? Back in the slow days of the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. He died in 93, so he didn't get much of the 90s. He died before the internet. Now, the internet creates incredible creativity. We're beyond measuring human creativity in the sense of art and galleries and values of paintings or music. It is the best art is conversation. And that's what people are doing when they're texting. So people are conversing and being great artists and being creative in many ways and spinning off into older media and making products. But the point is, for a model of someone who is incredibly productive and innovative, just to remind you of when humans were humans, you go to Frank Zappa. He's the last composer. He's the last image of creativity. We have gone past Zappa in terms of what we create with our technology today, way beyond anybody. And that's why Kanye West, he has to think of other things to do rather than being a rapper or whatever he is, a genius musician. There's so many things you can do that you don't want to specialize. So Kanye West is a good model on how people can live and be many kinds of things.
Got it. Look at the question.
Yes.
Somebody asks, did Napoleon Hill have a good idea with Think and Grow Rich? Do his ideas hold weight? No,
because we are all so wealthy with the imagery we're imbibing every day on our dangling ganglia that any human measurements of value don't apply to what we're in and experiencing now. Can you imagine if most people, you took away their digital connection, they'd feel quite impoverished. They'd have a problem dealing with it. Now, if they stuck with us and listened to us, they might learn how to massage themselves back into accepting no chip body. But there's no reason to hide the chip body. It's always going to be there. It's going to keep growing. That's the digital virtual economy. Note the economy just keeps expanding regardless of what humans make or how many are starving or dying or eating. The economy, the technology is taking on a life of its own. So you always got to remember that. It's thinking about that.
And so, who's going to win the election, Bob?
Nobody's going to win the election.
Okay.
There's going to be a fight over the controls and who runs the White House microphone, and that's going to go on for several months, and it may lead into civil war. I don't want to project a civil war, but we will get to a constitutional convention. That's the big thing. Trump is pushing for a constitutional convention because they're going to update American society, its model, its rules. They're going to get rid of income tax. All kinds of crazy, neat things are going to happen. That's where we're leading to.
So they're going to get rid. So you're saying right now that they're going to get rid of income tax for everyone. So if you're a business owner, you're not going to pay any more taxes.
Right. I don't know the details, but in general, there's not going to be any income tax. That's the first major goal of Trump.
Wow.
If Biden wins, I don't know what Biden's going to do, but Biden will die pretty quickly, and Kamala Harris will be the president, and we don't know what she's going to do. It'll be irrelevant. If they can't get out and dance it up like Trump's doing today, then they're not going to be charismatic, and we'll go to someone else. We won't need the White House.
Yeah.
Washington can't decide on anything anymore. It's all obsolete. They're all bogged down in tribal factions. You have to basically, not only is the Android meme not talking to you, you can't rely on any institutions to develop you. So if you start feeling ill, do not go to the doctor unless you just get your arm chopped off. Then they can do good on that stuff on their surgery. But you've got to start thinking by yourself, relying on yourself. You got to get smart. You got to look around and read things. Now, our products will give you the energy to do that. That's what's good about our stuff. It gets all your enzyme systems going. So there's so much to be done. Do not relax on where you are. Kanye West doesn't relax on where he is. He's always looking, exploring. I assume that. That's how he presented his image. I never met him personally. But he's out there being a good role model for people. But he should not think that he's God's gift to the world's foreign policy. Everybody's going to be involved with talking to everybody. And as things collapse, and if we get more and more diseases and plagues, you're going to have to be pretty agile to deal with that. You got to start taking yourself seriously, which means you don't take anybody else seriously. You start investigating reality on your own. That's the beginning point. And if you're forced to talk to someone else, be polite to them. Or every now and then for fun, be rude. But make sure that they don't shoot you. So,
yeah, right. Yeah.
And Frank Zappa used to say, if you stand on a street corner in America, and he said that 30 years ago, he said, there's 200 ways you can be killed. So get used to the idea that you will not know that you died, as I said 2 weeks ago. If you die, you won't know you died. So all you know is consciousness. So enjoy it. And you don't know how long your conscience is going to be, because what if it's really flexible? What if there is eternity? Speculate on what happens when you have eternity and there's no definition, there's no time. That means there's forever and you can't fail. So keep that idea in your mind rather than thinking you're going to die, because you ain't going to experience death. You're not going to know it unless you survive death. And then you're back to being eternal because you survived death. So there's no problem. So take advantage of the fact that your timelessness will make you experience things faster that you don't like, and the things you like will last longer. So you can make time malleable because it doesn't exist. It's play putty. Yeah. So there's no reason not to be in a good mood today, especially if you're listening to us.
Yeah.
Now, if you've eaten some food that your body doesn't like, okay, that makes you ill or feel sick or something. Be smart about it. Don't do that food tomorrow. Don't be addicted to anything. Dig variety. Easy. Now, these are all I'm imploring people. Well, that's because I have to perform here. I don't believe in anything I'm saying. I don't apply anything I'm saying. I don't go by what I'm saying. I go by what the next moment's going to bring.
So you live in the moment. So, okay, Bob, I want to cut you off. When you talk about what the next moment is bringing, are you creating the next moment, or are you living in the moment? What is this moment? How are you characterizing this moment? What is the next moment?
I don't think about it.
So you can't just say all that and then say that doesn't make sense.
I'm not getting any hearts. What's going on here?
You're confusing people. You got to break it down, Bob.
No, you got to get used to confusion. You got to realize I'm literally insane. Not that I'm lying, but I am insane as far as you're concerned. You're a whole huge cosmos, and nobody else's cosmos is anywhere near yours. We're all hallucinating in relation to each other. Ah, now I'm getting hearts. Very good. Thank you. You got to be creative in how you talk to each other in person. Say things. Zappa used to tell kids to, no matter what was said to them, respond by saying, "I doubt it." Start saying that to your friends or what they say. Hey, you having a good day? I doubt it.
And then it just, that's pretty fun. I'm going to use that tomorrow.
Yeah. Now, if you do that and your friend gets all uptight, tell them to cool it. And if they can't relax, then dump them.
Don't they
you realize how many people are on the planet that you can meet? And of course, they're going to be indifferent to you, just like you're indifferent to them. It's all fake social interaction, but usually you forget it and you enjoy it. It's just like texting. Texting is ridiculous. Look at all the thoughts and ideas that people text, and none of it has any staying power. Yet they engage in it. It's like breathing. One heart on that one.
So, Bob, I want to go into something that
this is not the way my hair is normally. My hair is all screwed up.
I want to get into something.
I don't look like this.
That you talked about last week,
I don't want this to be a standard image you think I am.
Bob, listen to this. Focus right now. I want to talk about something that you talked about last week when I asked you about what are your thoughts on white privilege. And you said that you don't really think a thought long enough to believe in white privilege. The one thing you talked about was white people got access to literacy first. Can you break down how they got access to literacy first and then fast forward to now where literacy is irrelevant?
So the rumor is, books say that the printing press was invented by a guy named Gutenberg around 1450. Okay, so that's in Germany. So the white European culture engaged the printing press for the next 100 or so years before anybody else in the rest of the world even heard about it, probably. A slow movement of ideas back then. And so the printing press turned Western man into a robot, a ridiculous person responding to this information giant called the book world. And people started reading books, and you had to put up with this. And they would read it privately, so they started spending time without you. Before books, people hung around the well, the tavern, the whatever the social thing was, talking, yakking away, just like your buddies in the hood. And but as they got separated by the printing press.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
What?
No, you said my buddies in the hood. Like I
well, yeah.
But
your buddies are.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But I want to talk about that because I want to talk about something being tribal.
No, wait a minute. I didn't finish.
All right, go ahead,
your buddies in the hood.
If
I take you literally as a black person, you lived in an oral culture, more and not so book oriented. That's not true today, but traditionally, you're an oral tribal culture compared to the fragmented white people who got into this sense of a private ego and developed by reading books and writing papers and making money systems, banking systems, all came in with the printing press. That created a very big bias in Europe. But it was a bias that the rest of the world, the undeveloped world, the world that didn't have any access to books, in South America, Africa, all over the world, they couldn't handle this new kind of person that had this crazy book idea that we're going to develop you as a person and take you out of your tribe and make you a separate individual. We're going to call you a Christian. Okay? And then we're going to make all this stuff around the Christian rules. So this visual book-based reality took over the world. And then the book world didn't understand that it would flip and cancel itself out with the telegraph and the radio and television and the electronic non-book media. Okay? So that all of a sudden, as I said last week, took the oral tribal people, which is better adapted to oral media. They're not into this private individualism that the book culture created. The book culture gets obsoleted. All of a sudden, we're looking at Diana Ross, Sing It Away, or James Brown, or anybody who's totally charismatic, and he knows how to do rhythmic stuff for an oral, tactile, non-visual medium, in the sense not a private book. Everybody's sharing it. You and your buddies in the hood were really good at that. Okay? So you took over the world. But nobody knew how to relate the new wealth of endless music, endless radio, endless TV. Nobody knew how to price it. Nobody knew how to bring it back into the world of banking. So the white guy said, well, let's bring in some money thing. So we'll create pay TV. We'll make you pay for TV. But for 20 years or 30 years, people had all this information for free, relatively free, for a couple pennies to get a TV. So you had this incredible global entertainment culture in the 50s, 60s, 70s, but then it got digitized. And that brought back the privacy of the book world. People now could be in their own little cubicle looking at their computer screen and reading it, listening to it, almost private like a book. But we had this underlay of collective electric media that's dancing away anyways. So as people got, we'll say, addicted to the information on their screen, around them grew this pool of black music called rap. And it became the currency of group solidarity. So all cultures started worshiping the image of solidarity to balance off the privacy that the screen brought in. So as people got more separated and decentralized with their screens, there was this accompanying soundtrack provided by you and your buddies in the hood. Okay? Now, we now came to a weird digital position now where everybody's addicted to talking to find out where they are, and music isn't as powerful anymore. We were talking to this rapper the other day, and he says the whole hip-hop scene is all the same. It's all boring. Nobody finds the ear as enrapturing as it did for the last 40 years. They want this tactile engagement, almost ESP, with their texting. That's the new entertainment, and we don't have any cultural form equal to that. Music doesn't stand up. Movies don't stand up. Notice all the icons of all these industries have collapsed because they do not hold people's attention anymore. This holds people's attention. People are watching two idiots talk and respond to it, and getting all kinds of crazy notions from it. That's wealth, but it's not wealth that I have to buy. Nobody has to pay for what we're doing here. And they're hearing ideas that they never heard before because I can provide that, because I have a different experience. And they hear you responding to me. That's part of the drama. You're responding to these new ideas. They're curious about how long you're going to be able to put up with this new stuff. A lot of hearts on that one.
So, Bob, I want to talk again about, like, I don't want to get too much into like this election stuff and what's happening. And you talked about how Trump is like a representation of like,
look, it ain't an election. How can someone not campaign? And when he does campaign, he talks to a bunch of cars in a parking lot. Biden, the Democratic Party should be embarrassed, humiliated, and capitulate to Trump because they failed to come up with a reasonable candidate in any way. And the guy's ridiculous. Everybody knows he's diseased in the head. And maybe they say, okay, put him in and then the woman will take over. But Kamala Harris doesn't look very charismatic. I mean, she's not on our products. Trump is. He's out there dancing. He's working for me in that sense. He's helped setting up my regime because he's using my products and he loves it. And he acts it out. So no wonder a lot of, you can't say everybody, but a lot of people like him.
Yeah, I think more people, I mean, like just yesterday, Lil Wayne, who was a huge rapper of the culture, was saying, I fuck with Trump. So, but this is the crazy part, right? You see that on the media.
Like Trump? Did he say why he liked Trump?
I think he was talking about some of the new things that Trump has planned in the African American community, or something he's going to look out for. I didn't read into detail because I don't read too much of that stuff. But I mean, you look at a picture like that, go on Instagram, and like you see like 5,000 comments. Like everybody is just commenting. I don't know if they're saying yes, if they like it or don't like it, but it's like people are just typing, like you said. It's like people are addicted to typing. Like you got to feel like you got to type some shit. You got to open your phone. It's like, it's this connection.
You're addicted to communicating, to exchanging.
But people don't communicate in real life. That's what why are people so caught up in communicating on this tech body and device? But if you go meet somebody in person, you can't even hold a conversation. Well, I can, but a lot of people can't. Do you need to be able to hold a conversation in today's age? Because you're never around people.
Yeah, there's too many other people commenting on everybody, and they don't really have a good handle on situations. So the people who get together and don't talk, maybe text together in their own bubble, that's good. That's silence. That's resting from the chatter they have to engage when they get home and they're alone. So humans have always communicated. They can't stop communicating. Even if you try not to, you're still communicating that fact. So humans are communication or engagement. There's nothing else to do while we're waiting to die, okay? Is to interact and distract ourselves from each other or from the waiting period. So everybody's doing perfect communication. They're texting like this when they can, and then they communicate another way when they're alone or when they're in a group. So there's not, hey, Trump, listen to me. The platinum program is the bomb. What's that about?
What is your brother talking about right now? He said Trump listened to what was going on with that? What's the platinum program again, Bob?
I don't know.
Dick Dobbs. Dick Dobbs. Tell us what the platinum program is, my nigga.
Is Kenley Marathon Music? Is that
that's Kenley? Yeah, that's Kenley.
Ah, there he is. Okay. No, it's just distraction. They're trying to create their own scene. They're communicating. That's okay. I'm talking too fast for people to get what I'm saying completely, but I slow down and make simple declarations, and they can grab onto that. But I'm saying that there's no reason to criticize anybody. There's nothing that's so bad compared to the tech body that's taken over and not manipulated you, erased your world that you think is human. You're not in a human world anymore. That's why now you don't have to panic. You just have to change your images of the situation. Don't rely on your cliche images of being a human in society or in person or in what you do with your body. And look, people play with being human. They decorate themselves. They transgender it all over the place. They add things. They cut things off. I mean, people are playing with their human form. But don't get carried away. I say don't get exaggerated. Just be a normal, bland person. But if you've been taking time by yourself to read and study interesting things, like listen to this. Anybody listen to this is going to be interesting or odd to their friends for the next 2 weeks till we're on again. And they start saying any of the things we said to their friends. Friends say, where do you get that from? You know, make yourself interesting.
Yeah. Dick Dobbs said that the platinum program is Trump's campaign. Yeah, well, Dickie Dobbs is that like why he was talking to Lil Wayne? Is that why he had the Nelk Boys? Was that part of the platinum plan to make sure he gets these people of culture in media to gain more popularity? Like, what you talking about, my nigga Dickie? What's going on? You can't be saying that and not saying nothing back.
That's right. Somebody liked my shirt. I want to thank them for that. This shirt will be worn every show. That's all I wear. I only have one shirt.
Yeah. That's a crazy. So that's what he said. He said, he told him. Okay, so listen, I want to talk about Dickie. Dickie is your brother-in-law. He says a lot of dumb shit, and you don't like him, but he's pretty smart when it comes to the media ecology side. And I was wondering, like, who the fuck told Trump to get the Nelk Boys out of all people? Like, I know who the Nelk Boys are because I watch them. Jermaine knows. We watch their videos and laugh all day. But then you see the fucking Nelk Boys on stage with Trump. They're from Canada, and like you said, there's some stuff going on in Canada right now with China and the wall, and like everything is lining up. So, like, this is pretty astonishing right now to hear from your brother. He told him because that came from left field, Bob. The Nelk Boys came from left field. You can bring anybody, but like if you know who the Nelk Boys. Everybody don't know who they are. So does that do something to the modality, Dickie Dobbs? Like, what was the reasoning for the Nelk Boys coming on stage? Because like if you know, what was your plan with the platinum program with that?
Oh, if anybody wants to talk to Dick Dobbs, he's available on Saturdays.
Bob, we're not doing that. We're not doing that here. We're not doing that here.
I just need to bring that up. Dick Dobbs will run.
We're not doing that here, Bob. All right, so let's go. Let's get back to you, Bob. I want to talk. Yeah. I want to ask a question to you about.
They're asking who's going to win the election.
You're fascinated, huh?
No, listen. This question they're asking: who's going to win the election? Look at how there's no election. Look at how the tech body is going to alter the results. And then there's going to be unforeseen effects of the fact they can't decide who won. And they're going to wait a week to count the ballots. And the tech body is going to play with that. You're being totally naive to think that there's an election even happening. Okay? So it's all going to a potential civil war and a constitutional convention. I don't know which happens first. This is, if you want a definite answer, that's what's happening. That's what's going to happen. So focus on that to the degree you even care.
So Bob, basically what you're saying, all this go out and vote, dude, I mean, I've seen more voting fucking commercials in media than I've seen in my whole life of every election that I've experienced. No, I'm not trying to be funny. Like, I'm 35 years old right now. I've experienced 35 presidencies, but I mean, of course, I don't remember them all. But from when I was born to being 35, the amount of stuff that I see in the media, yes, there is more social media and stuff, but like, I've never seen such strong campaigning or like so much pushing in my life than I've seen now from two people.
Well, because there's a lot of media is the first thing, and because a lot of the economy, the old-fashioned economy, depends on elections. They need the presidential race because they sell the ad space.
So the ad space, exactly.
So the election is for an economic booster for broadcast media, we could say.
So without Trump, there is no media. Is what I'm saying. So if Trump isn't the president, what media are they going to sell? Because all the media is Trump. What Trump said, what he did, where's he going, what do you have on, whose ass did he touch? You know what I mean? That is the media. So they're selling the media. It's like a big fucking, like, I don't know. It's crazy.
A joke.
It's a joke. Yeah, it's a fucking joke.
Fucking joke. It's a joke. But
yeah.
We live by joking. You know, Neil Postman, this old McClintonite, he said we're amusing ourselves to death. That's bullshit. We're amusing ourselves to more and more fun. Do you realize how much fun people have every day with their chip body as they text and all that, and the imagery they're taking? No wonder they're all staring at it all day long, and they come here to beautiful Hawaii and they don't even notice Hawaii. They're too busy looking at it. We have made a utopia of experience that outdoes everything. And yes, who's listening to CNN? You don't need to listen to any TV station. Your friends and you are making data all over the place anyway. So what a wonderful time we have. And don't bother me with a damn fictional election. That's bullshit. I never voted and I never will vote. What the hell is there to vote for? This is more important. The life we've made is more important than any White House occupant. They are silly, and they just get stupider.
So, Bob, basically what you're saying is it's a beautiful time to be alive right now.
Best time ever.
It's the best time ever to be alive.
And because I'm around to help you become and aware of your eternity, you're going to stay alive in the best time ever, and it's going to get better and better and better. You got to watch out for the maniacs and psychopaths. You got to be cool. You know, basically in public, be cool. Don't say nothing. Don't let anybody know you're enlightened. Don't go bragging about it unless you get on a stage. Hey, you can do it on stage. It's a proper entertainment context, or on an isolated podcast like this. But you got to realize how incredibly amazing it is, this world right now. It's the best world ever.
But it doesn't seem like that's what we know, because, you know, we're a part of this. You know, I don't want to know what we want to call it.
We got the good stuff.
We got the good stuff.
We're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, but for some people, it looks like the world is it's doomed. You see a fire every day in LA. You see somebody got shot. You just saw another man get killed on the news. So to hear you say,
don't watch the news. Do not consider it. We're in this wonderful information environment. Have a voluntary relationship to it. I can turn off my computer, and I don't have a cell phone, but I can turn it off and I go out and I go to the beach and I enjoy myself. I know nothing's happening that's going to be of any consequence. And when I come back then at my own time, I look at it. Now, if someone's got no money and they think they got to get money, and so they're on their going to Craigslist and looking for jobs and all that stuff, well, enjoy it. There's so much you're missing. You'll never catch up. So enjoy the little bit you noticed. And there's other people who are on welfare and they've got their thing set up, so it's pretty good. And so they're processing information all day long with their family or their fake family. They're taking a lot more than you, but they will become numb from that. A certain level of numbness comes in. So take advantage that you're poor and you can't engage in society and you haven't got a car and you like walking to work and all that stuff that you do. Relax, because no matter what we do with our chemical body, it's not as good as the chip body.
Okay,
So
so
you practice disagreeing with me and make your chemical body, your physical body very enjoyable. Prove me wrong.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, I this is the thing, Bob. Like, I want to continue to talk about that because I, money is one of the biggest things for people that they think they need because all you see on social media is glorification of money, right? You see, like, okay, this guy has this or that, and I got to get that. But one thing that we've talked about and you taught me is that wealth is an old mindset. It's not the cool thing to do is to not be wealthy, right? And I know we've had previous conversations about that, and I understand where you're coming from that perspective. But can you share with people what you mean by when you say the mindset of being wealthy is almost like a race the opposite direction?
You have to deal with a lot of distractions about how your billings are going. And now you can hire people to look after it, but you're always paranoid whether they're getting it right or not. So the real wealth is time by yourself or with a few other people, small scale. Most wealthy people are harassed in terms of the responsibility. Just if I announce my wealthiness to my neighbors, they'll start bugging me to fund their projects, So enjoy the fact that you're by yourself and you have no friends interrupting, and take a book or a movie or sit there and think about yourself or talk to whoever you're living with. Enjoy the most small scale stuff without rushing, without going anywhere. And even become, what's interesting? Bill Burr. I've been watching him, the comedian Bill Burr. Do you know his work?
No, I never heard of him.
Check him out. Burr, Bill Burr.
Okay,
But
check him
his
out.
comedy, just him acting out the bad temper and his complaining about everything all the time.
Is it
Complaining
funny?
about this. Very funny. He celebrates how stupid everybody is, how ridiculous they are. So he's making you appreciate that you don't have any friends. They're just a nonsense anyways. You got to look at I got from him, he talking about his arguing with his wife all the time. But that's because they eat sugar products. Sugar, the processed sugar, is going to get you all agitated. Okay, and many people are addicted to this sugar process. Note that if you stop doing it a little bit, you get more relaxed. You actually wouldn't have to run around doing things. So sugar is a big factor. And I've learned this from my bride, Carolyn Dean.
Yeah, you sound like
through
her
the
right
years.
now. I'm like, am I talking to Carolyn or Bob right now?
Yeah, but I was thinking, Carol and I have been together a long time, and we've had we don't ever argue or scream basically at each other. And I said, Carol, it's because we don't eat sugar. And we don't. I've never had a hamburger, a McDonald's burger. I've never had a coffee. I've never had tea, a Coca-Cola. I like eating raw fruit and I don't know, simple stuff. Now I eat the products, so I'm even worse now. I'm eating the products and living on them. But I thought, a big problem in people, they get married, they have a relationship, and in the comfort, they're both working, they got jobs, they can buy Snickers bars, they can go drink alcohol in bars. They start consuming sugar. And then they get all tense. Sugar will make you tense. And then you get irritable. And you start arguing with your spouse, or anybody around you. Really, a big factor why people are unhappy is they're too much on sugar.
Yeah.
So, and our products get rid of the craving for sugar. That's what's really interesting. We get that report all the time. I don't need all those sugar products. So again, you're talking to somebody who has the solutions to everything. We have our free energy battery. It's going to give endless electricity. We're waiting for the right time to unleash that, and we will do that. So
let's talk about this. Let's talk about this energy, Bob. I mean, this energy has got you into some very interesting positions and interesting spots. Where would you say, if you could say that this energy allowed you to conversate and to interject, what would you say that this energy has done? Like, where is this energy that you have access to brought you to, and where are you trying to take it?
Okay, so we're going to bring in a box that you'll attach to your home or to a building, different sizes, that'll give you endless electricity. Therefore, you won't need oil. You won't need other means of energizing your living quarters, depending on your climate, but you will not have the basic expense of energy and almost no rent. So
How much?
money expenses will become greatly diminished by this new environment of free energy. And that's coming pretty soon. So that'll make
How
your,
soon? How soon? Like in
I'd
the
say
next 2 years?
I would say within the next 5 years,
Okay,
5 years.
so as far as this new energy, okay, yeah, we know you're a trillionaire, so you can do whatever the fuck you want. If you want to say, hey, I want to buy whatever, you could do it. But is there a reason why you're giving out free energy? Is there going to be we're not going to have any? What's the reasoning for giving out free energy?
To stop using fossil fuels and all the disservices of that. This is clean energy, no side effects. And once people, so then people, they got the lights are going.
Let's talk about that. Clean energy. Clean energy. Kinley said, hit the applause. So I had to shout out my dog Kinley. I had to throw it on. But okay.
Yeah, so imagine what's society like when you don't need the fossil fuels to energize all your machines, and you have this endless electricity. You're not going to be able to charge anybody for anything. They've got, once you have to buy the battery, I assume, or we might give it away. But you get the battery, it's not a major expense, and then you don't have the expense of fuel anymore. And all your daily bullshit that comes with renting or owning a home. It's going to be, oh man, their hearts are starting up again. They like that. And now here's the point. There have been many people over the last 40 years saying they got free energy devices, some variation. The famous ones were Pons and Fleischmann, 1989, made their announcement. But that ended up in a rabbit hole, and the military said, you could take this battery that you've made here and make weapons out of it. So they took it away from people. But the thing is, it's a different world now, and that we're not subject to the Pentagon anymore. We can easily give this thing to 100 countries all over the planet. So the countries are being very careful with us. They're not bugging us. They're not killing us to get rid of us and take over our machines, our box. They just want to be on good terms with us so that they get access to it. So we're being very smart about it. And it'll come in and change a lot of our situation. Here's a good idea.
You showed me the box. You showed me the box. All right, go ahead.
This is a good idea. Tell your buddy next to you on the bus when you're going home tonight or wherever you go. Say, all this technology, this bus and everything around here, it's based on systems that are friction. They cause friction. They wear down. They're friction-based technologies. What if we had a frictionless type of technology? It didn't wind down. Our battery doesn't wind down. It doesn't engage in friction. And we will become like that technology. We'll be less friction oriented. We'll be frictionless. So that's going to create all kinds of incredible scenes. You realize as we move into, let's call it Dobbs Town, how much sex is going to be, how much drinking and drugs and excess when you can take our products and get better. We have a product, Realign. And you go drinking, you take our product, the drinking effects, the headaches and disorientation goes away real fast.
Yeah, it does. I can back that because, when I go out, when we go out, me and my baby Jermaine go out, we turn the fuck up. So we always got the Realigns on deck. So we take the Realign, we take it after we eat, we take it. We go out, have fun, and we wake up the next morning ready to do it again if we wanted to. We ain't doing that, but I'm just saying, that's what the product really does to you. And it's like, I'm only saying this because when you say it, because I'm like, damn, that shit really does, it does work. And a lot of times when you start taking it, I mean, we took it a while ago, and it was like, I don't know if this shit ain't working, but it's working faster now. You're seeing the effect faster. And I know you guys have new every time, and you have a better product because you're continually testing and trying to have the most complete formula. Like, I can tell now that the formulas and the products, they happen faster. Is that because it's getting to the cellular level faster? Or is it because the energy in the world is different that it's happening? What is that like? Why is it feeling like these products are having an effect, like literally as soon as you take that drop? Good.
Let me up the level here. Other dimensions are responding to our product, and they're contributing. Other dimensions are contributing to the factory. We're actually uniting the intergalactic reality we live in. We are becoming a center point. And there's a lot of fantastic. There's a lot of, yeah, there's a lot of fantastic scenarios I could go into, but it might challenge people's believability. If I'm getting some believability here, I want to maintain that because it's real what we're saying. And in later shows, we can go further and further. Let's warn people. Each show is going to get more, quote, extreme in what I say. And I'll just be bringing you up to where we are right now.
Yeah. So, Bob,
what
would you say is the most, you know, you get the information before a lot of people. What is something that you would say that's not in the media now is actually happening in real time that, you know, people may not know about?
Okay. Fact number one, we aren't from this world. We're from the Andromeda galaxy. All humans came from the Andromeda, Andromeda. And we left that realm and came here. We are going back to that realm. There's a statement. Okay. There's a fact that's coming. And you want to be available for the spaceship when we leave. Elon Musk and those guys, they're not providing anything like we do.
But they were trying. They were trying to. Elon Musk. Okay, now I want to get into that. They knew about this information, this shit that you're talking about. He knew about this, and they knew
he knows about me. He knows me.
And they tried to create this whole thing, but for some reason they can't figure out how to put it together. But you, on the other hand, have put it together, and that's why I guess that's why he's reaching out to you. But are you going to help him, or is it like you always say you're down to do your own thing? Like, what are those conversations like? What is that engagement when you're thinking about the next step and where we're going because you have this information?
All I require is they get on the products and then they come and join us on the show here. Yeah. And engage in the conversation. We don't have any particular ideas we're propagating. We don't have any dogma, but we are available to listen to all kinds of different things and engage, and we welcome other people's experience. And this should become bigger than Joe Rogan or Oprah or anything, this show here.
For sure. It is going to become bigger. It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
This is the thing. People don't know, Bob, is that on a scale of 1 to 10, the shit that we're talking about right now, we're probably at a 2. Like the level of shit that we could talk about here and like we've talked about offline is like we want to keep it very, very low right now until we get enough to the point where or shit's happening in the world where we're going to have to share this type of shit. You know what I mean? So we're keeping it there. So just so you guys know, we're keeping it at a 2. So, Bob, I want to take it up a notch to a 3 right now, right? And I'm going to ask you a question. And I want to get your outtake on this. And it has to do with sports, right? And you look at sports with no fans and you see nothing in it. And it's starting to look a lot like entertainment. Like, it's definitely a sport, and we're competing, but it's looking like entertainment. And that's something that McClinton said about sports and entertainment. And McClinton is a scholar that, you've met several times and you've talked to, Marshall McClinton. Can you speak about...
I was his archivist.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
I preserved his memory and made him... I caused the McClinton revival in Wired magazine.
Let me say one thing. Deuce bitch that said Sally the fake Dick is still here. Dick is a part of the family. So, he's a part of the family. You got to let... He's just fucking with you. Man. Don't fuck with Dick. Don't fuck with your dick. The dick, it sounds crazy. But anyway... Hey, so Bob,
here's an interesting point. Yeah. Dick just used the word nigger. Now, Dick explains this. Dick likes to think that he's non-physical. Dick likes to say the thing.
Bob, I said 3. You're taking to a 6 right now. I said 3.
Oh,
you're going to 6. What? You gotta stay at 3, Bob.
He said it, but I want to explain the use of the word. This is a 3.5.
Don't say the word. Don't say the word. Just explain what you're saying.
Okay. The point is, he wrote that word.
Yeah.
Now, he defends the use of that word because Dick Dobbs says he's non-physical. He is in everybody. And the way blacks address each other with that word in the context of their culture, Dick Dobbs says, I am a black. Yeah. I'm also an Iranian, an Israeli. Yeah. He's everybody. So when he talks to black people, he uses that word because 100%. That's what they do. So recognize Dick. Now, that's his claim. We don't know what Dick is. He's a strange character.
We know who he
but
is.
That's why he's saying it.
Here's
What?
the thing, Dick. Sometimes he's your fucking weird ass brother, and sometimes he thinks he's something overpowerful. And I'm not gonna lie, we've had conversation with Dick, and I've seen this motherfucker turn into something else. I've seen him do 7 front flips and then jump and do a dunk. I'm like, how the fuck did you do that, Dickie? So I know he can turn into other shit, but
Yeah.
I don't. Like I said, we got to keep it at 3. We got to keep. We'll
Okay.
get to a 6 later. So I want to talk to you about. You keep talking about Frank Zappa, and you told me to listen to Zappa, and I have listened to Zappa, and it's like, at first, it's very, very hard to listen to, because he's just going all over the place. There's no rhythm, there's no melody, there's nothing. But then after you listen to a Zappa song, you almost feel like you went somewhere else. Was that his concept of music? Like, I'm gonna fuck these people up and just do the wildest shit, take them somewhere, and that's how I'm gonna gain an audience. Like, me just make some wild shit.
He wanted to do every kind of music. He knew every kind of music. So he'd play some serious classical music from Stravinsky on the concert stage. And then he'd bring in some doo-wop, which for most people is a bunch of silly teenage music of the 50s. So he scandalized the serious music community by playing music that those guys wouldn't even know about.
Yeah.
And then he'd go into another kind of music. So he jumped around and massaged your ear 50 years ago, just like your ear gets massaged by YouTube today with a variety that no one anticipated. So Zappa was ahead of his time. He was giving you the ear experience that you were going to have once you got into this smartphone reality. And so people aren't used to, back then, they weren't used to such a mixture of styles of music. They wanted it to stay limited like a book. They were book oriented, and they wanted a story and a melody and a beginning and an ending. Zappa never did that. And he also became the best guitarist in the world, and he didn't rehearse because he didn't rehearse. He didn't rehearse. What he did do, he maybe go on tour once every 2 years, once occasionally every 4 years. He would get his band together, and they would rehearse the band for 4 months. He had a huge catalog, and they'd memorize 500 songs. But he would have to pull his guitar out of the mothballs and remake his fingers, toughen up his fingers and the calluses to play for the tour. And he hadn't played in 3 or 4 years, but he could play wild and incredible immediately. Now, let's see. Does anybody here?
I'm going to go to the bathroom. You talk to the people.
Now, note, I don't have to go to the bathroom. Note that about me. Note that about me. I don't need to go to the bathroom. Okay, so I was going to ask people, is there anybody out there who knows of Zappa's music, and maybe name a song we could talk about while we wait for Jack? Does anybody out there know anything of Zappa? Here come the Hearts. The Hearts know a lot. And he came from Los Angeles, even though we're not in Los Angeles digitally in the chip body, but I associate this with Los Angeles because that's Jack's environment. He doesn't live in LA anymore, but he has his whole environment that he's cultivated through the years in Los Angeles. So I don't see, Marathon, tell me if I'm missing. I'm looking, I don't know if I know where to look to see the latest post. I don't see a post. Do you see anything, Marathon? Marathon who just wrote Godflow. All of 2, says Dick Dobbs. So he is real. Yeah, Dick Dobbs is real. Let's see. Four more years, says, so Kenley. Kenley's an interesting guy. I know Kenley. I haven't met him personally, but I've been around. Marathon, says Kenley. Montana. Yes, Montana is a song about a guy who starts a dental floss farm out in Montana. That's a very popular song among his fans. You know, it's like the AM radio, but it's not one of my favorite. Dick Dobb is recommending Watermelon Hay. That's a fantastic instrumental. Easter in Watermelon Hay, I think it's called. That's the kind of music I like. So if you want to know what I like, look up Easter in Watermelon Hay. Is that what it is? Montana's okay, but not great. It's too traditional. Bumps on Rich Homie or Kay Gates. Maybe we should just have some silence for a minute. All right. We had a 10 seconds of
What
silence.
What I miss?
Kenley says Zappa gives him a headache. Yes, you got to be healthy. You got to be in the solar conductor flow mode to get Zappa. Now, Dick Dobbs mentions one of the greatest songs by Zappa, Muffin Man.
Muffin Man.
She thought he was a man. The lyrics are, she thought he was a man, but he was a muffin with unbelievable guitar work.
What's a muffin, though? What do you think of muffin? What is a Muffin Man? What is that?
It's a little cookie. And the human became a cookie. The man became a cookie. Unless Zappa had some eccentric meaning of a muffin man, a softie or something. I don't know. Never got explained. The music's too good to bother with what the heck is a muffin man.
Yeah, I wish we could know.
Look at this. How old is this guy? I'm 98.
98 years old.
Very controversial. I'm 98 years old. Now, why I look young is that LA produced a fantastic thing in the 60s called the D cell. Joe Dunn Sloan made the D cell. And if you met Joe and you got one, you'd put it in your water. It would energize the water, but also purify it, and it slowed down your aging. My aging has been stopped relatively for 50 years. 50 years. Now, Joe kept getting beat up by his neighbors and had a tough life there in Huntington Park, which low-income place. Right? You know Huntington Park, Jack?
Yes.
Yeah. Not Huntington Beach, Huntington Park.
Isn't it right? Is that Santa Monica?
Right no, Huntington Park is near Watts, I think.
Oh, yeah, I know that. No, I've been to Watts. I haven't been to Huntington Park before. I probably had. Didn't know I was there.
Yeah, it's so small and, ugly looking that people don't associate it with LA. But out of this ugly place came the most fantastic substance of the last 50 years until we showed up with our new substances. We have incredible.
When are you dropping the new substances that, you have something called living water? You have these new products that are coming out. When are these going to be dropping for people?
When Dick Dobbs backs off and stops interrupting in the flow. Dick Dobbs, he's actually a competing empire to me. And he has a lot of resources, and he's slowing down what we offer, what we can offer.
So he don't want you to have battle. But why doesn't Dick Dobbs want you to? But you and Dick Dobbs is brothers. Y'all partners. It's what is it? A balance? You guys love each other and you hate each other. Take you over. You trying to take
Cain and Abel. Hear what I said? What? Cain and Abel. Oh, the biblical brothers, okay. Cain and Abel? That's what we're acting.
Yeah, yes, of course. Got it.
We're the archetypes.
Got it.
And there's not, on our level, there's nobody else. We're in our unique penthouse situation. So there's only me and Dick Dobbs. It's like George Foreman and Muhammad Ali. You know what I found out? A very interesting brother of yours. His name is Reed. R-E-E-D. He's probably in his early 80s. He's quite a well-known author among some people. So he's a black author. Well, he just came out with a biography of Muhammad Ali. Okay?
Okay.
You know who I mean?
Yep.
Why are you in the distance like that?
I'm here.
Why are you in the distance? What's that do?
I just put like a background on my screen. I'm right here. I see.
Okay, but you're way.
It's smaller.
Okay. Oh, I see. I see. Yeah. Okay, so so in this biography, he releases a lot of new information about Muhammad Ali. It's very interesting. So what he found out is that when Ali refused to serve in Vietnam around 1967, so he lost his world championship title. They took it away from him. So he had to leave boxing. So he didn't have boxing. So he spent 3 or 4 years, they used to say, in the wilderness or in, dire straits. But he actually befriended one of the mafia guys in the New Jersey area who put he and his wife up in a mansion for those 3 or 4 years. And there were battles between different parts of the mafias around this guy. And eventually, luckily, Muhammad Ali wasn't there, but eventually a bunch of mafia thugs out of Philadelphia raided the New Jersey guy's mansion, killed the whole family and the children. And that's a typical mafia war. But this is the world that Muhammad Ali was in the middle of during his period of not boxing. When he's, I guess, gone off the public screen, he wasn't that visible.
And this is in a book that Ishmael Reed, you said his name is? So
Ishmael.
He's sharing that story of this part of Muhammad Ali that we may not.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows this story. And he befriended the wife. He had many wives, but the wife that lived that period. Carol and I actually met them in 1975 at his camp in Deer Park, Pennsylvania. Anyways, the thing is that Muhammad Ali had a very interesting life in the underground or off the radar, which I recommend this book. And Ishmael Reed is, what Dick Dobbs, that is actually appropriate to the Muhammad Ali lifestyle, what Dick Dobbs just wrote. Asses to ashes and sluts to dust. So Ishmael Reed is a very good writer. I think he's well worth reading. And if you want to identify him as a black writer, then you can be proud of it. But he has been suppressed by the publishing industry. So he has gone global. He has readers in Italy, Nigeria, you name it, all over the world. He gets awards in these other places, and he gets no recognition in the United States. So if you like the underdog world, Ishmael Reed fits it. But Jack has heard about a guy named Walter Board, who was part of my life through the years. Walter Board started the first underground newspaper on the East Coast in 1965. Well, his co-founder of the East Village Other was Ishmael Reed. So Ishmael Reed
really?
Was an amazing guy when he was young. And then years later, 30 years later, he met Walter Board again. They ran into each other because they'd gone quite separate lives. And Ishmael said to Walter, I wish I'd done what you did and gone into the private sector. Walter wrote books commercially, but Ishmael Reed became a professor. And he said, I wish I'd gone into the private sector, not the public sector, not the university world, which is a mess. So Ishmael Reed had an interesting thing to say to his old buddy, Walter Board, but he hasn't stopped his work, and he's made this new book and found out a lot of stuff about Muhammad Ali. Now, I don't know if Muhammad Ali is a big hero in your hood anymore. What do you have on that? Do people know about it?
Yeah, people definitely know about Muhammad Ali, but, with his disease that he came down with, it kind of like, Muhammad Ali is the greatest, but you still don't have that feeling because you don't look at him in the same way. I don't know if that was part of the shit that make you, you know what I mean? But I mean, he's definitely the GOAT. We definitely everybody looks at Muhammad Ali as one of the greatest of all time, but it's not like you think about Floyd Mayweather, you're thinking about more present guys because in media, you only know what you see. You know what I mean? It's so easy to forget about someone. And I always say this a lot of times now to my friends, it's so crazy. And we talk about the tech body or we talk about the media, and it's like, Kobe Bryant was one of the biggest basketball players of all time, right? And like, it's wild that as much of an impact that Kobe Bryant had on the game over the years of him playing, there's so much other information in media that is overpowering what he's done. Because the fact that he's not here anymore to really be here to pretty much say or what he's done. So it's like it shows you how strong this media is. Where it's like it's easy to forget about the heroes that you had in the past. Like there aren't any more heroes because there's always a new rapper, there's always a new player, there's always something new coming. So it goes back to what you said is like enjoy the fact that you have the almost like the individualism or the time to be on your own to figure it out per se.
Yeah. And Andy Warhol, famous artist of the 60s and 70s, he said everybody will be famous for 15 minutes. So he was the first to point out the transitoriness, the short duration of fame as more media required more famous people. And he got that from reading Marshall McLuhan. He got that idea from Marshall McLuhan. Andy Warhol. But then in the 70s, Warhol came up with a second version of it. And so he said, instead of everybody will be famous for 15 minutes, he said, in 15 minutes, everyone will be famous. Now think of that. In 15 minutes, everyone will be famous. That happened with the internet, especially social media. Everybody, you go on Facebook, everybody's got followers, may not be many, but they've got a network and they're famous and they post for that, or other people who discover them. Everybody's communicating to an audience now. So everybody is in the fame game. So there's a very prophetic statement that people don't know. People have heard the first one, but not the second one. In 15 minutes, everyone will be famous. So he predicted that 30 years before it happened.
Wow, that's wild. I mean, and so it's almost like he predicted this social media fad where we are now. But I want to talk about where we're going, Bob, because this social media and being an influencer and all that, that's just going to be obsolete pretty soon. Just like, you know, we talked about, you know, academia and these things of sort. We're seeing, you know, they're trying to force the school, but it's like there's so many cases in the school, and we're seeing it slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly go down. So, you know, but you continue to say that this is the best time to live in. So I want to continue to get about that, because I want to make sure that we talk about on here is just inspiration, because I want people to come in here feeling like, yo, I'm going to listen to Jack and Bob and really leave from getting some knowledge. And like we said, yes, the media may portray, or it may look like, excuse me, this is the worst time to be in. But coming from you, Bob, you know, the person of who you are, break down why it's the best time to be alive. Because I think people need to hear that inspiration, because I know it's you know, it's tough out here, man. It's fucking, the media feeds you the biggest bullshit. You see somebody getting shot every day. You see this and that. And it's like, it's easy to be vibrating at a very low level.
Well, if you assume that we're eternal, then death doesn't mean anything. You get killed, you die, you transition, you're in another dimension, which may be way more interesting, and it may give you potentials to return to this dimension or go somewhere else. So this is based on the fact that you will not ever experience death. You can't know that you died.
So that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying about that. Because at the end of the day,
people like that.
If you die, you don't know that you died because you died. But then when you come back, you're like, oh shit, I'm eternal. You know, people say, hey man, I had a near-death experience, and then they come right back. Then it's like, what is death if you died and came back? So is it a false preset? Like, is that a real thing? Because if you just told me that man died, but then all of a sudden that man just came back, what is death? And then when you ask what is death, what is time?
There's no death and no time. And so once you live with that idea or belief, even though you don't want to have a belief that blocks other information. So actually, the one belief to have is, I don't need a belief because I'm eternal. That's the one decent belief to have. Why do I need to believe in anything? I know that I'm eternal, and you won't be able to prove I'm not eternal. I won't be here to notice it if I die. So you always got to remember that you're not going to experience death. Think of that. Now, you might experience a painful,
that's the best way to say it, Bob. That's the best way to say it. You got to know that you're not going to experience death, because when you die, you're not going to know you fucking died. So that should be a beautiful thing for people to like wake up and be like, yo, I'm not going to experience death. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Not saying it like that. I'm not saying you're going to die, but I'm just saying that's a good way to look at things, to live your life a little bit. Like, you're not going to experience death, so just fucking live. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the beginning idea you base everything around. Okay, so you relax, and you can't fail. You never get it done, and other similar effects of being in eternity. And then you have time to explore everything. You have time to have 1 million relationships, 1 million marriages, 1 million non-marriages, and 1 million affairs. You have time. You have time to not connect to people. Be a hermit for 400 years. You have time to do anything that you're interested in for an innumerable months.
But this is the thing, Bob.
Months.
You say you have time to do these things. So how can we distinguish the term of no such thing as time, but then say you have time to do things? So how can we break that down? Because that's something that I live by. We live by that. There is no such thing as time. I don't think that, of course you want to be on timing. You want to be on time for things, but I don't predicate my success off of if something happens at a certain period of time, because when I did do that and something didn't happen, you don't do it, and 2 days later your life could change. So I'm on the whole predicated no such thing as time. But how do you say you live forever and then you have more time to do things, and then if there's no such thing as time? Could you break that down in your terms?
Yeah. You can't, when you're using speech, you cannot avoid contradiction. When you speak, you're saying this thing is not that thing. I've made two separate situations, and then I make a relationship between them. They're engaging or they're not. But I've made the mistake of making something separate from something else. You don't know how much everything's intertwined or not. So you can't help contradicting yourself. So you don't have to make sense in general. Now, if I want someone to get me some cigarettes, I want to instruct them properly, the brand and where to go to get them. Okay, so you wouldn't contradict that too much, but I'm not making a general statement in that case. I'm not doing a particular. When you make a general statement, you will contradict yourself. So here I am having to use the word time to say what it is. So what? And even Madonna knew that. She once said, so what? So what? I contradict myself. So what? Okay, so don't be afraid of contradicting yourself. And anybody who complains about it, you point this out to them, that they cannot contradict themselves. If they make a general statement about reality, reality cannot be described accurately.
Because it's changing every day.
What?
Okay, it's because it's changing every day, so you can't accurately say something about what's happening.
Not that reason. You cannot make a simple statement that has one meaning. You're going to involve other contradictory words and other situations. That's why Dick Dobbs likes to say, there's always two conversations. Note that. So when you're thinking along and you take one side of something, you've forgotten that there's the other conversation, the other half. There's always a contradiction and two conversations. One conversation, which is a human being, wouldn't know another conversation or another human being unless they separated one from the other. So there's at least always two. Two-ness. You should believe in two-ness, not oneness.
Well, so Bob,
oneness gets you nowhere.
So let's talk about the two-ness, right? We talk about your number being 22. We talk about, us as humans.
No, my number's not 22. My number's 19.
All right.
Okay. B-O-B. B is the second letter. O is the 15th letter. And then the second B is 2. So 15 plus 2 is 17 plus 2 is 19.
You just said 22 is your lucky number. All right, stop it.
COVID-19. COVID Bob.
Bob, stop. We're keeping it on 3 right now. Okay, we're keeping on. All right, so look.
You should hear. Wait till we get to 6 level, people.
Man, we get to 6. You got. Hey, so Bob, I wanna fuck. What I forgot what I was about to tell you.
Well, I was explaining how.
Oh, two. Okay, I want to talk about 2, right? And one of the biggest things that me and Jermaine have learned, or one thing I've learned a lot, I know we both learned, is that how to connect the two, yourself and me right here, and then that other thing, that non-physical or that spirit or that frequency above.
Physical. The
other physical that you have of you, right? What would you say to the people is the best stage to connect you, yourself, your meat sack body, my skin, and that other thing of me, that thing that, you manifest something, the thing that's going to do it? How do you connect those two? Would you say it's not to think about it? Because you got to know that it's 2 of you, or not 2 of you, but you got to know that there's your physical and your non-physical. You got to know that first before you can start knowing that there's other things that could happen. So what's the first step to knowing about, your other part of you, or your non-physical, or your spirit self? How can you break that down? How can we interject that to the people? Because I think they need to know about that.
Okay. If you have another self, you should be happy that you do. And especially if it's different from you, because you wouldn't know yourself if you didn't have another thing to bounce off of. You ever notice when you interact with somebody, you judge yourself, you get a self-image on how they're reacting to you. You don't know the effect of what you've uttered until you see it in the face of the person you're directing at, and then they reflect back. So you can't know yourself by yourself. So there's always going to be an other, and you should celebrate the other. You should recognize that you can't know yourself without the competing form, which is not always competing. Depends. So again.
So, Bob, somebody asks, explain, huh? I can't hear you.
They're saying the hearts, they want me to leave. When I said low battery, look at all the hearts coming up. Does that mean they're sick of us?
No. So somebody said, explain manifesting and the power of manifesting. Bob, I want you to give your definition, and then I'll give my definition. So can you explain your definition of how you would say the power of manifesting? What does that mean to you?
Up till recently, not what you thought didn't manifest, but what you spoke. Your words are the most connected to your cells. Your words are like cells. So speaking determined your reality. What you said about yourself, what you said about others. So words had that power. But now in the era of the tech body, your words don't have that power. They don't have that power to create, that ability to create. So what you say creates, but you still have the power of your words, but on the level of creation, that's taken over by the tech body. So you have to deeply understand the dynamics of the tech body to figure out where the gap is that gives you room to create and retrieve the power of your words. So your words still have power, but they've been displaced. That's why you shut up. Don't spend all your time blabbing, because it's not as creative anymore. We're superseded with this post-human situation. So you learn how to relax in the silence of the situation and enjoy the comedy of humans who are actually things trying to be human. Look at the comedy. Okay, that worked. People like that one.
That was good. I mean, I think that's a great definition. And like for me, I would say my definition of manifestation, it kind of piggybacks a lot off you said, is just knowing that the one thing is just knowing that you can have whatever you want. That's the first thing, is to know if
you say what you want, then you get it.
No,
you have to say it.
No, I'm saying the first thing is to know that you can, like, if you say you want something, you got to know that that's a thing that can actually happen. A lot of times, people don't believe that they can say something and it can be a reality.
You're not saying it right. You got to
know. This
is
my breakdown, bro. I'm trying to explain.
It doesn't work. I'm correcting you. You got to know that whatever you say happens. So it's not just, wow, that. I'm creative. I'm powerful. No. The fact is your words are the creator of existence. So that's all I need to know. So you might be careful about what you say. But then if you do say something and you didn't mean it and it creates a problem, just say the opposite and erase it. You have the power to erase what you create.
In smaller words, manifestation can happen very, very fast. You know what I mean? It's not something that you got to wait years or you got to do. It's like, Bob, would you say once you find that?
You said it.
Once you find that, okay. When you say it depends on how you say it, it's almost like you have to manifest as if you already have it.
Right. That's the key. Talk as if you've already had it. Don't say you want something. That means you don't have it. Wanting is a deficiency. You want to accept the fact that you have everything already. Matter of fact, you might enjoy not having anything. A little more, less irritation. Yeah. I find the less that I have to engage, the more slack and relaxation I have, more good feeling.
Yeah, because you don't have other people throwing you off on shit. You know what I mean? It's always a good fucking day when you can wake up and not have to answer an email or not have to get a call. Like, it's always good when you can dictate your day, but we go back to this tech body shit. People can't live without engaging. When you don't even have a fucking phone, which I don't understand how you do it. But like, you can't engage without your phone. If your phone turns off, you can't get to your bank. There's just so many things that people have put so much power in this tech body, in which it goes back into. That's why it's taken over, because everybody has put their power into this black mirror, this cell phone, They put everything into it. You tell it what to do. You tell it what to give for you. You ask it if the temperature is hot outside when you fucking look outside and it's hot. Like you literally like, Siri, is it hot? Is the sun going to be out today? You look outside, the fucking sun is out. You're still talking to your phone or engaging in this tech body, and it shows you how it's taken over. But like you always say, there is something that once you know that this tech body has taken over, you can kind of let it work for you. Talk about that.
It's providing all the services that you take for granted living in North America. It's not possible without the tech body. So you're already provided with endless comforts, but which can become nuisances. So you be careful with that. And then you have the endless stimulation. Never before can people look at you, Jack, and then look away, and there's all this data coming in. Experience. When you watch stuff on your smartphone, it's overwhelming the world around you. It's swallowing your brain. So you're living in that. You've transported to another reality every 6 seconds, say. So that situation is what people are confused by. Yeah. That they look away from a human, and then they got a whole different enchanting situation. So they don't need the human.
Somebody said, since we're covering tech mindsets, what about blue collar mindsets? You want to take that one first, or you want me to take? I'll answer that first, Bob. You want to go? Well, you go first, Bob. Well, first of all, Deuce, what is your definition of a blue collar mindset? Are you talking about the person that works in 9 to 5? What do you mean by blue collar mindset?
We're waiting for them to answer.
Yeah, see if he says something back. If he doesn't respond in 5 seconds, we're gonna let you go off. 5, 4, 3. Okay, yeah. So blue collar is basically people that work in 9 to 5. What about people that work in 9 to 5?
If we have an EMP, which my sources say we're going to have.
Wait. People don't know what it's an electromagnetic pulse. Okay, explain it.
You don't need to tell me to explain my stuff. I will explain it.
No, sometimes you won't, Bob. You will say it and you won't explain it, and people won't know what you're saying. Okay, thank you.
I will. Okay. EMP, electromagnetic pulse. That's an explosion that happens at the heart of our, say, satellite hookups, the fiber optic cables, and knocks out all our communications. So you don't have the digital electronics massage anymore. You're left standing there by yourself, and you have to talk to whatever environment you need to acquire. You're going to have to do something to get your food. You have to do something to get warmth. You have to figure out where you're going to live. So much disruption if you have an EMP. So a blue collar worker is not going to be working that way. But if I think of a blue collar worker as someone who knows how to make things with their hands, they're going to be very useful in this EMP environment. You know, they are expendable with this software, non-hardware stimulating your brain situation that we live in. But once that's gone with an EMP, then those who can make things with their hands will be in power or in authority or at the top of the hierarchy.
So Bob, we talk about this EMP, this electromagnetic pulse that's going to hit, and you're saying this is going to hit. You're saying this shit is going to hit. We don't know when, but at some point there will be an EMP hit, and that's when we go back to your little black box. Because I don't even know if it's black. I'm not going to say the colors. I saw the colors. You got multiple colorways. But when it hits, that's when we go into this cold play, this box that you have that's going to power everything. Are you already prepared for when this happens? So say the EMP hits tomorrow. Are there cold fusion? Is there boxes ready to go? I mean, you showed me how it works. I saw you empower your whole fucking neighborhood. That shit was crazy. But anyway, are you guys ready to supply these boxes if this EMP hits tomorrow?
Yep. We're ready, and that's what we're waiting for. It's going to be that kind of crisis that forces the oil guys to back off, the oil industries, because they won't be able to solve anything. So we will. And but before it gets back up, society functioning again, the hardware guys, the blue-collar workers, will be very valuable. But they have to recognize why they're unvaluable now. We live in a software society.
So that's
we live in an actually beyond the physical body. As a matter of fact, they say that a lot of the Trump supporters were, you know, blue collar workers who were pissed off at the digital order, the world order that the digital technology brought in. And there probably was a heavy grievance to that. But they have to recognize that they allowed a society like everybody else did to go digital. We all contributed in our experiences to the digital society. So we made this thing that's done us in on that disservice level, on the negative side effects.
What do you mean? What do you say we made this thing? Are you saying we made this thing by pumping our power into it, by giving, you know, posting everything to it? What do you mean by we made this thing?
Take the slaves in the third world who work with the basic materials that go into making our silicon gadgets, all the technology that requires resources around the world and the mines and that. Those people make this technology possible. If we didn't have them, we wouldn't have the technology. So everybody's involved in making this in a new environment at different levels of discomfort or comfort. All right. So when you, it's interesting, those that live in the advanced first world North American society and have those comforts, they're plagued by ills and all kinds of problems physically because they're sitting around not doing much physical exercise and they don't have any nutrition. But those that live in a less industrialized area have advantage of living in that situation. Now there's disadvantage in both because you could have tribal warfare in Africa, and that's pretty vicious. They don't have much ammunition, but they can still chop each other up. So again, you always come back to what I said. Nobody's got it better than anybody else. That's the thing you've got to realize. You have it as good as anybody else because there are different ratios of how people live and what they're involved with. And that has good things and bad things, or services and disservices, just like your situation does. So you have to remember that no one is better. And that's a religious view. All humans are equal. Not in some abstract ability to write letters. It means they're in the same semi-suffering condition. Everybody.
So Bob, so it's hard. So I want you to talk about all humans are equal, right? Yes, all humans are equal, but when you pay attention to the media, when someone says Black Lives Matters, that's basically saying that Black people aren't equal, right? Because they're making, if you were equal, a Black life wouldn't matter, because it wouldn't matter if you're like, what are we equal to? Well, what are we equal? You know, your brother Dick Dobbs talks about that. What are we equal? What are we basing the equal off of, basically?
The feeling of being human. And depending on your slack in relation to it, you're comfortable or not with being human. But everybody has the same element of discomfort that comes with consciousness. Everybody has that. That's the basic thing. And you have to figure out how the consciousness can be numbed into a relaxed state or exaggerated by being heavily involved in doing something. It's all kinds of ways to distract your consciousness from its pain or from its restlessness, its incompleteness. Everybody's equal on that level. And that's what people live in. You know, take Elon Musk. He's walking around right now with tension in himself, just like the homeless person is, in a different environment, but he's still got to deal with human consciousness. I got to get more water. Just a second.
All right, cool. Let me go. So Bob's going to get more water. I'm going to show you guys something really fast. This is my beautiful girlfriend, Jermaine. She is making some heat right now. You making?
Does Jermaine have any questions? I mean, I think we need more questions.
Yeah, tell Jermaine to ask some questions. Bob. Well, you know what? Ask any of us questions. You could ask me a question or ask Bob a question. We're just going to answer.
You fucking asshole. Ask a question.
You hear Bob? He said, you fucking asshole. Ask a question.
I'll think of something. Keep on going.
She said she'll think of something. Keep going.
Bullshit, you will. My power may go out anytime. I got to get Jermaine, call Carol and tell her to get down there to fix my button here.
Oh, he said his phone's going to go down. He needs you to call Carolyn. Look at her hand. Bob, I'm going to show you Jermaine's hands right now. She's fucking clayed up.
So she can't text?
Your butt.
Will you text Carolyn?
It's dying? Okay.
You want me to text
Oh,
Carolyn? I'm going to text Carolyn right now.
Text her.
I'll text her. It's going to go off the screen, though. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, Jermaine's going to text her. All right, so, Bob, I want to get back to you again, right? And you have all of this knowledge and all of this information, right? And nobody knows who the fuck you are. And I happen to be the lucky person that exposes Bob to the world. I mean, I've always known I was different. I knew this day would come someday where, you know, I would be sitting there, all the shit I used to say would be true. And we're here now. So what I want to say to you is, how come nobody knows who you are? And the question is not for people to how to find you, but I just want to know what's the reason you think why people don't or didn't know who you are, because you've been around for 98 years and you know a lot of shit. Is it because people don't listen to you, or it's the underdog mentality?
No, it's again, you can't help but contradict yourself. I am well known in many worlds. Historical institutions in Washington, New York. I've been around.
Very true.
What are you doing?
I'm listening. Just keep talking. We have to take a slight sidetrack because I'm doing something, but I'm talking. Let's keep.
Yeah, look, like somebody goes, that's crazy how he doesn't have a phone. I do have a computer at home, so I'm not disconnected. But I'm not going to walk around with a phone because there's nobody important enough to tell me, to text me that I have to listen to.
So Bob, how do you know that if you don't form a thought that becomes a belief? How do you know someone's not going to call you that can change your fucking life? I mean, I know the answer to that, but I want you to break that down, because you can't say these things and not back it up. So
because if you interact with me, you will be changed. I've got way more advantages over anybody.
True.
So I try to help people not be upset by me. So I stay out of their hair.
Got it.
But there's always someone eventually does get to me. I mean, I just have to come home. I just don't walk around with a smartphone. I come home and I got a computer and there's emails and stuff there. So I'm pretty easy to get in touch with. But I've been on the radio for a long time. I'm known in strange ways because I never did mainstream fame.
That's what I was going to say. You're just not known on mainstream media. You're definitely known, like anybody that's met with President Trump is definitely known. I guess my question is, why do you think you're not known on the mainstream media, and why now on my show you're becoming known? Like with the timing of everything, because it's a lot of shit going down right now. It's a lot.
Now listen, Jack.
Yeah.
Here's something that they don't know.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, when I was on the show, one of my business partners was meeting with Trump after his speech in Macon, Georgia. Friday night, 2 weeks ago. And while my business partner was talking to Trump about things that they're equally involved in, my business partner's assistant came in and said, "Bob's on the phone." And he held, why is there all this environmental noise? People hearing me?
No, everybody hears you.
Okay. So the assistant held up the phone and said, "Bob's on the phone." So he gives the phone to my partner, and my partner realizes, we got to go into Instagram. But before he can go in Instagram, President Donald Trump says, "No, use my phone."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so Trump was going to go into our live conversation from
he went into our scene here. It was about an hour and a half into the show, and he starts watching it, and he goes, "Is that Bob?" My partner says, "Yeah, that's Bob." So he looks, and he goes, "JR Bob?" The church subgenius thing. He knows about that.
Yeah, he knows.
He goes, "That's JR Bob's house?" And my partner said, "Yes." So he shuts up and watches.
Because he's heard about you. Because he's heard about
What?
this Church of the Subgenius shit. So he's
Right,
interested.
he knows what I do.
Yeah.
He knows what I do. They know my history.
Yeah.
So he watches for about 5 minutes. And then he turns to my partner and says, you know, Bob, he'll talk to anybody.
Hey, tell Trump stop playing me. He may not know who I am now, but he gonna know.
Yeah. He didn't know then.
Well, he knows now.
He had a sense that you were out of my usual sphere of conversational partners. And he thought you were an oddball or something.
Until he found out who I am.
Now he knows. Oh yeah. As soon as that ended, they checked out. They created a file on you.
So, you know, it's just funny that we're talking this, and like,
and this is true.
And I was about to say this is not a false statement.
So Kenley, and the people who are typing in here.
Say what? I can't hear you. Can't hear you, Bob. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me or no? Can y'all hear me? Kinley, can you hear me? All right, cool. How y'all liking the show so far, man? I know a lot of this stuff may be kind of sideways and left field, but I mean, this man that we're talking to is the most powerful man in the world. You know, I don't want to continue to talk about it and say these things, but you can listen for yourself. And if you hear, I appreciate you supporting and being here. And if you hear, man, you've been seeking this knowledge, you're gonna get this knowledge. Appreciate you. Y'all got any questions, man? Say any questions. Oh, Bob, you back? Do you have any questions? Let me show you the new collection. New collection coming out tomorrow. That's a skeleton shooting the basketball. You connect with him on my show, and you come here every other Friday, you'll see Bob.
Okay, I'm here. How do we get this thing? What is not plugged in?
I hear you now.
Yeah, we're trying. We need it. Just a minute. We need to plug something in.
All right, cool.
Get pulled in.
Carolyn, say hi to the people, Carolyn. Let the people see your bride, Bob.
Hey, people.
That's Carolyn. She's the best doctor in the world. So you guys can see her. That's what Bob's talking about so much.
So Carolyn, I'm now back in the image form. They can see me. I don't know what changed it.
I did, Bob.
Okay.
Bob, somebody asked, you think go to college is important to get a job? Do you think it's important to go to college to get a job?
Not anymore. No. And you don't want to get a job. Think about living without too much emphasis on job reality. Figure out ways to do temp. I think it's better to go on a temporary level, part-time stuff. If you know how to use the time that you have, that you're not working, and you don't have these ridiculous desires to buy expensive stuff, if you've got no money for a while, learn to do the simplest, cheapest thing. Try reading.
People can't read, though, Bob. People can't read. That's the thing.
Well, they got to practice that, else they're always going to be agitated.
But nobody has time to practice reading with so much information. How somebody
if you don't have a job, go towards a lifestyle that's not dependent on work, 40, 50 hours a week. Do a part-time job. Just get by. And you can get our cheap products, and that'll make you feel good. The thing is to get as close to my reality as possible. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You get our food, our nutrition, and you don't get so bogged down and trying to have a career or a specialism. What? Just a minute. It's not dependent on work. Carol's just checking me on her computer. Let me just wait for a second.
Oh.
Only half of your face is showing.
Oh, she's checking my face. So you want to fix it?
Well,
Did-
move it so your face is in the frame.
It looks very, very much in the frame. Hey, look at me. Hey, I can see
Hey,
myself.
look at me.
What are you doing, Jack? It's
I'm
odd
chilling.
what you're doing.
I'm just talking to you,
So
Bob.
people can't read. Look at all these people. They just go on and on making up shit. They can't read.
People
They
that
hate
can't
reading.
read, quiet as hell.
Look.
So Bob, let me tell you something. ASL, right? That word means as hell. ASL means as hell. Isn't that weird? That's funny, right?
Yeah.
Quiet
Okay.
as hell.
Look, challenge yourself. First of all, you got to get your basic nutrition, which comes from our products, and they're not that expensive. So get a temporary job so you can get our products. Then you get healthy. Then you're feeling good. And then you say, what the heck am I doing this stupid thing for? I'm going to get a better job. And I've saved my money and I can live without working for a while. Be flexible. And don't let anybody drag you down into their stupid realities. I mean, you can engage people socially
Bob.
in discos or wherever, different places at the gym. Be cool. Oh, there's one heart. Starting to get the hearts going again.
So listen,
Be damn cool.
people can't be cool because it's too much pressure to be cool.
No, not that kind of cool. You be cool by going along with everybody. Don't think you got to assert yourself, and you must be recognized for your great thoughts. You know, wait for it. You'll get great thoughts. It'll be worth it. There's already too many people yakking their stuff. Boy, this is working. This works, Jack. People like this.
Yeah, we got to go back and forth. You're saying don't think about being great, basically. Because if you think about it.
Don't judge yourself. Be lazy. Be energetic. Do all these different things when you feel like it. There's nobody worth listening to.
Yeah.
Get into your own abilities to entertain yourself. And that means maybe you like talking to people. So go around to places and talk interestingly to them. Come up with different ideas. If you listen to us every 2 weeks, you'll get different ideas that you can talk to people about. And if you can't find anybody to talk to, get on the internet and talk to the public. Type something in some Facebook group. There's so many different things to distract ourselves. It's almost a disadvantage. We have so much utopia. It's making us stupid. So you got to start to recognize how to relate yourself to the wonderful situation we're in.
But people,
we're really in a great situation.
I get that people need to interact with this, but people are living in a fear-based reality. Nobody wants to interact with.
Well, get out of it. You got to listen to us to practice how not to have fear.
Exactly.
And if you're going to continue being fear, then pretend you're going to die, off yourself, commit suicide, and you'll find that you didn't go anywhere. And if you didn't, if there is no eternity, you didn't know you killed yourself.
Yeah.
Think about that.
That's wild. So I want to go into now I think we're getting into ways to live and things like that. With you, Bob, you live such a slack free life. And I think people hear slack and they think slack means don't do anything.
Laziness.
Yeah, they think laziness. But my definition, the way I look at slack is just not having pressure for an outcome. I'm not tripping. I'm chilling. I'm slacking. I'm good.
We're just talking. And what's fun is there is an audience, so that makes us have something to bounce off of. But it's the easiest thing to do is to talk. Maybe people can't talk as long as we can because we got a lot of data in our heads, so we can be entertaining to ourselves as well as others. I've already been on another show for 3 hours before this show.
Already today.
I'm lucky so far. And on top of that, I only sleep 3.5 hours a day. I only sleep 3.5 hours every 24 hours. So I have lots of time to do all kinds of things.
Let me say a PSA right now. You're sleeping 3 hours because you're on some new products that you guys have not given to the world yet. The world will get these products but that is part of the reason why you're able to sleep 3 hours. So I don't want people to come on here yo, sleep 3 hours. Because you are on some products that allow you to sleep 3 hours and to perform. And the great thing is we will have those products too. We will have access to those. So when you don't sleep for 3 hours, what the fuck are you doing for 21 hours?
I'm talking to people like you.
Okay, so you're doing that for 4
I'm
hours.
talking to
Okay,
other minds.
we're gonna break
Or
down.
I'm by myself, or I go surfing, or I go swimming. I have a limited range of activities that are good enough for me. And watching YouTubes, reading something, watching a documentary or a movie, going swimming, having my products, then talking to somebody, Skype or on the phone, then back to walking out to the beach. It's I don't have to be anywheres. So I can do whatever I want to do as long as I want. So I don't have to do that many things. If I like what I'm reading, I can read for 18 hours with nothing interrupting me.
Yeah, because you
This
have
is
a
where
phone.
you want to get. You want to be able to have.
Would you say that people should disconnect from their phone for a certain period of time? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, once a day. Don't look at it.
for how long though?
5 hours.
So you say people should get away from their phone for at least 5 hours a day.
Yeah. Now, if you have an urgency, a commitment, and you have to wait, and they screwed up and they're late, and then you have to wait 5 hours till they call you, well, at least you did your part by waiting. But next time, tell the person you're not going to be there. They better get their act together and call when they're supposed to. You got to be a little disciplined. You're a military. Think of yourself as a military operation. You're a guerrilla unit, and you're on a project that you're not telling anybody what it's really going to lead to. Think of yourself that way.
Got it.
Think of yourself as a conspiracy against the world.
Got it. Okay,
And,
so if you think of yourself like that, that's the thinking of yourself as a powerful being. Most
here's something.
individuals.
I would recommend not having children as much as possible. Children are a big headache, and they give you little delights here and there, but in the long run, they're a problem, and they don't appreciate you. So don't think your life is meaningful if you have children. Now, if you think you can do it, and I can't stop you, have your children, but expect to be disappointed.
Okay, Bob. Let's break that down again. Because some people say, man, that's what the point is. You're born, and then you want to procreate and make a little you, or make and have a baby. And I get it. That's because the only reason people think that is because everybody else says, yeah, you get married, have a baby, have a field, and get a picket fence, do this shit. But it's like, at the end of the day, what if you didn't really want children? I'm not speaking for myself. I'm just saying in general, it's just so funny that the modality of the world says that, okay, do this, find a girlfriend, get married, get the house, the white picket fence, get a kid, do this. Like, where did these constructs come from? Who created these constructs of like, this is what you got to do to
Out of survival.
Yes.
Humans need to survive, so they had to have a lot of people. Most of their kids would die, through a large part of history. But the other factor that is new, this is new news, the womb is closing. You're not going to be able to have kids soon. And I was told this back in the 60s. And if you look at the problems people have having birth today, they have to stimulate. Then they get twins and stuff like that. But the point is, or they get surrogate children, mothers and all that. But the point is that the physical form is being phased out because the digital environment has gone beyond the physical form. So there's going to be a long range effect that humans will not reproduce the way they have. So I see a lot of people having families now in this transition to no families or no children, and they're not happy because there's too many pressures of the post-human technology frustrating the human body's natural instinct to have kids.
Yep.
It's so impossible. And so they actually don't have much time with their kids. They're very quickly into their stupid video games and other digital stuff. And then they go to school and they're subject to all of that. And then they're gone. So you actually can't have, let's just say you can't have a family anymore, actually, the way people always did. Can't have one. Your kid is hijacked by the tech body very early. Now, that's good if you have to go somewhere and it's kind of like a babysitter, but it's not going to give you the emotional sustenance you used to get from having children.
Okay, so Bob,
they're not the same. They're not the same anymore.
Are you saying that because, now I know my nephews that are born, like, right when they're born, they're on the fucking tablet, they're on the cell phone, they know how to get on YouTube faster than older. They know the kids know how to get on social media or YouTube faster than the parent does sometimes. So what you're saying is now a kid is born into this fast environment with access to all this information. And it's almost like, all right, mom and dad, y'all cool, but like it's this shit right here that I got is way cooler than you guys. So
That's
is that
right.
what you mean by now the children that are being born, not saying it's not
Yeah.
great to have a child, but they're so engaged in this tech body so fast that it's like they're not even going to give a fuck about you unless you can really give them this ultimate attention, because the cell phone or tablet is way more interesting than waking up and hearing what your mom and dad got to say to you every morning.
Yeah, don't call it information, call it experience. There's a whole bunch of dots of experience awaiting the kid. Not information, experience. And just like they ignore the wonderful environment here while they're tourists here, your kids are going to ignore you. You cannot keep up with the What are you doing?
My bad, I lost you. I had to turn my Bluetooth back on. You said the kid can't keep up with what?
The parents can't keep up with the experience the kids having digitally all day long. Can't keep up. You can't have a okay, that's my point tonight. You can't have a family in any way that people had families. They ain't there. Now, a lot of the Silicon billionaires and people who created the digital world, they withdrew and they send their kids to schools that don't have digital materials. And so they're actually protecting their kid from the chip body world that they created.
Oh,
okay?
They don't want their kids engaging in this. Okay, so the billionaires with the money are like, look, y'all not fucking with this social media Instagram because I know what it's going to do to you, basically. And they're keeping them away from it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so the elite are now they're trying to go back into a, pre-digital world a little bit for their children. That's a smart move, but eventually they're going to have to get into it unless we change our technology. So you may make your kid retarded in relation to all the other kids who've grown up with the chip body. So you can't win as a parent. You can't win. Now, Kanye West is trying to make these communes, these kibbutzes, these environments where people can have families and live this slower lifestyle. He might be able to deal with it, but humans want to know what they can't have. They're going to want the digital experience. So recognize if you have a kid, the kid ain't yours, and relax about the kid. Let the kid do whatever it wants to do, unless it needs you as guidance, and you tell them some guidance. But give them different kind of guidance, not the traditional stuff. Because there's so much inhuman, non-human, amoral reality going on. They got to learn how to live with that.
Got it. And that's not, and that's something you can't teach. You can't really teach a kid how to live in this new digital reality. Because it's a totally different space, right? Because sometimes the parents aren't even engaging in social media or this platform when, like you said, everybody is living in this chip environment. Everybody's living in this social media texting space. So what are your thoughts on, say you have a parent that has a kid that's not engaged in this social media space, that has a kid that's very, very hyper engaged in this social media space, and the kid surpasses the parent engaging in this chip body space. What happens to the family orientation then when the kid is almost like surpassed? Because, if you can't live in the chip body space now in this social media environment, you may not be able to survive. So what are your thoughts to these like hyper smart kids, like knowing more than the parent?
That's just a different kind of kid. They still got consciousness. They still got the pain of existence. They still got to learn how to deal with the illusion of the situation. So Kenley says, tech body is shutting you all down. Now that's true up to a point, but you can get out of that situation the more you understand how much is shutting you down. So do you see how Kenley's statement doesn't give a solution? He just tells you the problem. And maybe he thinks people, what is this? That's G1. That's an interesting person. They are saying interesting things here. I wish I could address them. He says, that, do you believe in doing the right thing all the time? No, I don't believe there is a right thing or a wrong thing. I don't worry about it. I'm doing my own thing. I am paying attention to people that are around me and how they react to what I'm doing. I'm very considerate that way. If like I'm being considerate with Jack, I'm paying attention to what he's saying and responding and interested in his response. So I'm very considerate, and I think you have to do that. You have to be considerate. You have to pay attention to whoever you're engaging, no matter who it is, the bus stop guy,
okay, what about if you're engaging someone that's just being a complete asshole? You know, sometimes you go to restaurants, you have a bad server, and they're just being nasty and not really treating you right when you treat everyone with respect. Do you still say respond in kind? Because I know that's something that Dickie Dobbs says is whenever you're engaging, even if you're dealing with someone that may not know as much as you or may not, you always have to respond in kind. Can you talk about what response?
I wouldn't do that.
Okay, you said you wouldn't do it, but okay, let's talk. I want to talk. Okay, you go. You talk about that.
Yeah. What I say is I practice self-control. If someone, you were at a restaurant with me, the guy kept bringing water. I didn't want water, but I didn't say much to him. I put up with the aggravation because I know I can feel good pretty quickly talking to you or Carolyn or someone else. If I know I can feel good, I don't have a basic irritation. I can put up with temporary little irritation. So I'm not going to make an issue. I don't make issues out of things. But if I was with someone who's a real asshole, I'd leave if I could. If I couldn't leave, then I'd have to figure it out. But I've had for years no irritations. I've never got into a hijack situation in all these years. You could say I don't attract it. But I'm also not out there in the office, in the workplace, dealing with assholes who are irritated that they have to work. I understand the normal, painful existence that people live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think that they wouldn't have as painful experience if they didn't worry so much about what people thought of them, what the media was doing. If they somehow relied on their own ability to handle the silence and loneliness of being alone a little more, it would flip into a kind of pleasure.
Yeah, but you know, people can't. But that's the thing, Bob.
People can. You always say people can.
I'm not saying can't. I'm not saying they can't. I know they can, but I'm trying to say it from a point of view for the people that can't, that they're listening to this, that are hearing you. It's hard for people to be alone because, like you said, you think that you need someone else to help you get to where you need to go. Like if you have an idea or something, or you got this, you automatically are taught to think that you need education or you need this to help you get there. That's the first step. I don't think people are able to get out of that step of thinking that they need something else to get where they want to go. Like I think that's the biggest disconnect. And like you said, the time may be running out. What can you say to people that are looking for that first step to realizing I don't need nobody else? Not saying you don't need nobody else, but I can do this on my own. I can figure this out. And when I need someone, I'll find that person I need. But how do you get out your own way? Or what would you say for people that are looking for that good luck, that good luck train?
Make it a discipline to show up here every week to hear my bride speak or me. We alternate every week. And make this an irritation if you don't like it. Practice listening to us, failing to get something across to you, and learn to be patient with it. Because then if you wait long enough, we've been on here for 5 hours or something.
Yeah, we've been on for a while.
Maybe 3.5, 4 hours. There's stuff in here that you've never heard before, which you would be interested in. I think we don't know what it would be, but hang in here to get those moments. As Zappa used to say, don't expect anything good. And when a little good shows up, you really dig it. Lower your expectations in terms of
lower your expectations. Okay, that's a good thing. So you're saying, okay, let me repeat that. You said don't expect anything good. Okay, let me break this down first, because expecting something and knowing something is, because if I know that I'm the best at something, I don't expect. I'm not going to be mad if someone doesn't say something to me about me being the best. So I'm not expecting something. So you're saying is don't expect anything. You know something good's gonna happen. You know what you want. You know good, but don't expect or walk out every day like, man, I'm looking for something good to happen. I'm expecting this good thing to happen to me. Are you saying that?
Don't expect. Listen to this. Don't expect traditional, conditioned, cliche versions of obvious feeling good or good stuff. Look around to see if there's other things that nobody considers good. It can't be, and see if you can get something out of it. Basically, I mean, I remember Bob Dylan was caught. He's a famous 60s musician, Bob Dylan. Some people here would know who he is.
Yep.
He was in New Jersey in a backward town suburb walking around. And the cops, maybe someone reported him, like he looked suspicious. So the cop arrested him and didn't know that he was arresting this, world celebrity. And then they found out who he was and they let him go. But why was Dylan walking around in this nowhere place? He was looking for a different place that isn't considered charismatic or going to give him a good time to see what unknown experience happened. Well, what unknown experiences? He got arrested. He didn't get hurt by it, but he created a good humor and actually celebrated the fact that he does different things, that you're not looking for cliche places where his buddies from showbiz are hanging out at some golf club. He was in this stupid place in the New Jersey nowhere back alley. And I think maybe they even asked him later, he said, I'm just interested what's going on over here. How are people living?
Hold on, Bob, my phone is dying. Let me get my charger really fast. My phone is with it. Let me get my charger.
Kenley keeps typing, endless typing from marathon music. If you can't be alone, you can't add value to others. Back to the Future says, is can't just a mindset? False evidence appearing real? Correct. That's true. Can. Well, you don't want to get too involved in the can part either. They're having a bad day, says Kenley. Bob, do you believe in doing the right thing all the time? No. We don't know what's right. There's so many different reactions you can get today. You don't know what's right. You don't know what will have a good effect. The other day, I told a friend I know on the walk that I did an amazing thing for Trump. And they said, well, why don't you let him die? Why don't you let him die, for God's sakes? And they walked away. So there's an example. I thought they'd be impressed with what I did, and they hate Trump so much they were pissed off at me. So I don't expect a great compliments all the time. I expect people to get upset with me. What are some of your daily affirmations? Oh man, I don't affirm anything. Do I a daily affirmation? No, I wait for my new thoughts of the day. I think up interesting thoughts all day long. And so I wake up and I start saying, okay, what's my brain going to say to me? And my brain starts telling me thoughts. And I ignore them or let them pass by. But my affirmation is to pay attention. I don't need to tell myself to pay attention. I'm always paying attention. What's the number one thing that you've learned in life? What I just said is the number one thing I've learned in life.
So Bob, you allow the thoughts to flow through you. You don't go out thinking the thoughts, because the thoughts are already there. It's already there.
I think, what if I killed Jack? What if I fucked Jermaine? I think of all these different thoughts that just pass by. Don't you have those kind of thoughts? Different scenarios?
I don't have thoughts of fucking Carolyn, Bob. I don't have those thoughts.
Well, you better start cleaning up you better start getting better thinking. And everybody should fuck Carolyn. Everybody should fuck Carolyn. Anyways, but the thing is, you actually have, they call it your dark side. Your dark side, your negative side, that's always going through my thinking as well as positive. Matter of fact, I tend to think negative more than positive. I think of all kinds of bad, stupid things about people and what's going on, but I don't react. I don't care about the thoughts. I just let them run through, and then they're replaced by another thought. Yeah. So it's Marathon. He says he's fucking crying. Maybe he's.
But people feel what you're saying though. Like I can hear what you're saying, and I don't take it in a certain way. But it's just it's the thing of thought, because it's already in you. You don't think.
Look at this. Back to the Future says, I do feel what Bob. Yeah, see, that's it. We're making it acceptable. Crazy shit comes. Yes, and you do not See, where the greatest thing is thoughts don't affect anything. That's the greatest story ever.
Yeah,
because if all our bad thoughts created shit, man, we would have been gone. We wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes.
Fact. You can think anything and nothing happens to you. That is true. You can
Yeah.
literally think anything and have no repercussion from it.
That's what writers do. They think anything and write it down as they're thinking it. They create scenarios by letting their dark side come through. But no, I think about depending on what I'm doing, there's a bunch of people associated with that. So I think about those people while I'm engaging in that milieu of an operation that occupying a few hours of the day. So so I had to think about you, Jack, today before we did this to remember to engage with you.
Yeah.
But, you know, you'd come into my thoughts in and out. So I'm thinking about what I'm going to do after this, who I'm going to talk to or something. So that's coming through my mind. But it's surprising how many bad negative thoughts you can have if you just let it drift.
For sure. I mean, but would you say that negative thoughts come because of what you see in the media is all negative? You don't really see too much positive shit in the media?
I think our thinking is the strangest thing of our existence. We don't know what's making these thoughts happen. Scientists can't figure out the mind. They can play with it with their new electrodes and stimulate things, but you can't. This is the Godhead of people. Mm-hmm. The thinker is the Godhead because it's all over the place and nobody can get to it. You can't even get to it. It just is. So many people through the years, smart people, eventually, if they knew me, they always said, you know, you live in your head a lot. Mm-hmm. You live in your head. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not paying attention to my environment. Like right now, I'm watching you, I'm watching the writing. Half of my brain is doing that, but the other half is thinking all kinds of crazy things that I want to say or don't say. I'm right in between the inner and the outer.
But how do you get in
Anybody
between?
Like that one? Bob, you have a nice smile. Joe Adele, we like Joe. Bob, you have a nice smile. Bob.
So Bob, how do you find that in between though? Because a lot of times
I don't do anything about it.
So you don't do anything about it. Happens. Okay.
Now I'm so in a way different in the way I've lived. I don't know how I am, and I can't. Who am I comparing myself? I do compare myself to Carolyn because she's lived with me along this whole thing. We spend incredible hours alone and not distracted and not with each other. But it's really great to have another, quote, creative person who's always able to live with their thinking, what they have to say. It's very cute to watch the way she lives.
Yeah, same thing. I feel the same thing about Jermaine. Like I hear and learn and like, because at the end of the day, we all think different thoughts. We all do different things, but when you're able to bounce and have that balance, it's great. Because me and Jermaine, I wouldn't say we're total opposites. We're a lot alike the same, but we're also a lot not alike. And I'm sure you and Carolyn may be a lot alike the same way, and also, you know, not alike. But okay, this is my next thing.
Okay, wait a minute. So Jermaine's over in the corner, and she's not bugging you. She doesn't need attention. She's keeping herself occupied with whatever she's doing with her hands.
She's watching this. Well, right now she's watching. I think she's in the room watching the live right now. But okay. I want to ask you, would you say to any male, female, is that to be able to get in that space, would you recommend people being in relationships, or would you recommend it's better to be single when you're trying to figure out, you know, how to make it in America, if that makes sense?
Okay, some people who have lived alone a long time, they think they're, quote, better than me. You've always been with Carolyn, they say, you know, and you don't know what it's like to be alone. You couldn't be alone. But Carol and I spend a lot of time not with each other.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, my source tells me that I spend a lot of time going to parallel worlds, and so does she. And you can go to another world, and it's you're gone for 2 minutes from this perspective, but you're actually been gone for 3 months.
3 months.
Anyways, I consider myself alone all the time because I know I don't fully understand Carolyn. You don't understand Jermaine. You're never going to figure out what Jermaine is. You get glimpses of something. Yeah. So you're always alone. And that's not a problem. It doesn't hurt me to be alone. What the heck? What's it mean to be alone? Exactly. I've got a room here. I got phone calls to make. What are you doing? You checking out something?
I'm here.
Yeah. So, but what's fun is having someone to interact with or to help make your food or to eat with or to share something. I'd recommend more being with somebody than being alone.
Yeah.
It's more fun. You know, you got to figure out how to get along, or you got to have similar something, equally involved interests. They don't have to be the same. And you got to be, all you have to do is pay attention. That's how you're a nice person. You listen to people. I don't think that what I have to say is more important than what you have to say. I
don't know, Bob. Sometimes I think you think what you have to say is better. Sometimes I do believe that.
Well, that's part of the interaction. Every now and then, you're going to demand to be listened to. I accept that. And you should accept me when I have to tell you what I'm saying. It's more important what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
That's part of the give and take. So I don't determine which action is better, being a good listener or a good talker. They all part of the interplay.
Yeah.
So I'm not making any judgments about what's going on. Any guilt creating. I don't consider I did bad things. If I do feel like I did bad things, they come through, but they don't last long because I can't be affected. The reason you can't know anybody is they're eternal. And what are you going to base their eternity on? So we actually are so eternal that we can't know each other. But what do you need to know?
Yeah, what is it to know? So, okay, so if we don't know each other, so how do you know, at the end of the day, you say the cliche is, hey,
says, did I serve, Bob?
Did you serve,
Do you mean
Bob?
in the military?
Yeah, that's what they're asking.
No. I'm from France. I'm a French citizen, and then I ended up in Canada, and then I came to the States. I only became an American citizen in 2016 or 17. And we did that because we knew we were going to become more controversial, and I didn't want to lose access to Maui. So I said, if I'm an American citizen, I can stay. I can't be deported as easily. So that's why we became citizens.
Wow.
Bob is a phenomenal listener. Oh, that's Kenley. He knows that. And that goes, damn. Well, what do you damn it? Tell us what you mean that's G1. Damn what? Oh, yeah. I never had to engage in military battles, but I did work in intelligence. And you can look at my diary. You see I was at the Battle of the Bulge and the Malmedy Massacre in late 1944. A very key event. When was your last time in Paris? 2016. I was with Roxy and her family. Carol and I went over there. And I showed her around. As a matter of fact, you look at some of the videos I make with Roxy, you'll see footage of our visiting various institutions and fun in Paris.
Bob.
I even showed where. Yeah.
Sorry, talking about institutions, I want to talk about institutions, universities, and things of that such. And when you open this podcast and this conversation off with, you're building and you're creating the new school, right?
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you any now and then because I'm interested in people are saying, name some of my books. Well, I only did one book, Phatic Communion with Bob Dobbs. That's Phatic, Phatic. When Jack is talking and I'm going, that's phatic gestures. I don't say a word. I just acknowledge that I'm listening to what he's saying. So I wrote this book with like the best ideas of the 20th century, and I called it Mere Phatic Communication. That's the joke. It's just winking and nodding at each other. These great ideas by LaRouche, McClinton, Thompson, and Croker, and myself. So, are you asking me to name books I recommend? See, name some of your books.
Yeah, name some that you recommend.
Assuming you might mean that, I always recommend Marshall McLuhan's books. That's McLuhan, McLuhan, and William Irwin Thompson, Thompson, Lyndon LaRouche, LaRouche, and Arthur Croker, Kroker. And always get a copy of Finnegan's Wake. That's Finnegans, no apostrophe after the S. Wake, Wake. Finnegan's Wake. The whole fad of being woke comes from Finnegan's Wake, which was written in 1939. Always look at have a copy of Finnegan's Wake by James Joyce. You can't read the book. When you see it, you'll understand why. There's 60 languages on every page, all jammed together. So you have to figure out your relationship to that book.
So, okay, Bob, so you're talking about Finnegan's Wake. How can anybody figure a relationship out with a book that's written in 60 languages? Is it just like a feeling that you have?
No, you read Marshall McLuhan, who spent his life translating Finnegan's Wake. He figured out how to make it meaningful.
Mm.
And all my writers are aware of Finnegan's Wake. William Irving Thompson, Arthur Croker, and LaRouche. They all have things to say about Finnegan's Wake.
Okay.
If you say, please, can you save this live, please? What does that mean? You're saving this, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm saving it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, Bob, you talk about these scholars, and if you fast forward to now, like a lot of people have never heard of these people. Why are these people that universities or whatever, they don't want you to really know too much about? Like, I know some people heard about it, but like, what? Tell me about that.
They've had their day. They've been taught in university, for short periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what they do in universities now. It's a ridiculous environment now. So I say that these books are what you read when you have time, when you have leisure. They're the best to read. They help you understand the tech body. They lead into understanding the tech body, where we've gotten. But no, we can't talk about that. So
yeah, so okay, we can go a little bit about to the tech body thing. It kind of talks about, when you speak about tech body, it leads into where we are now with, if you've seen the Social Dilemma movie on Netflix, it talks about the power of social media. I haven't watched it yet, but I know it briefly talks about the tech body and what you're speaking about, on how we can't really control it.
Okay, I'm reading the questions since the people are.
Okay.
I like interacting right now. How many languages does he know? I only know English and a little French. I don't know any languages. But when you read Finnegan's Wake, there's a book that translates the languages for you. So it's not a problem. It's even online. Look it up online. Finnegan's Wake, James Joyce, Joyce. Bob, how did you meet Greg? Do you mean Greg Duffel? That guy, Kenley, Greg Duffel? See if he answers that. There's the hearts. Are you getting those hearts, Jack?
Yeah, I've seen them.
What do they mean to you?
I guess people are just liking what we talking about.
Nobody knows what it is.
They're talking about Duffelbag. He's talking about Greg Duffelbag. How do you know Greg Duffelbag?
Okay. I used to be on the radio. I've spent a lot of my public career talking on the radio. Never had my own show. I was always a guest, so I didn't have to have the hassle of creating a show. I just came on and talked. And that's because I had a lot of information in my head. And I was part of a show called The International Connection in the 80s on CKLN-FM in Toronto from 84 to 91. Me and another guy shared the duties. And then I left Toronto, went to New York City, and a couple of people took over the show. It was called International Connection. But around 2000, Greg Duffel, who had been a listener to me and everybody who came after me in the 90s, saw an opening. They needed a host, so he offered himself as a host. So he became a host of my show, International Connection, and I didn't know him. Somewhere there in 2000, 2001, no, I didn't know him. Okay, so then 2001 happened, and we were in Toronto. So we were, with our intelligence network, we were whisked up to Toronto. And I went on CKLN the following Tuesday, a week after CKLN. And Greg Duffel happened to be listening. Or he got a call from somebody, said, hey, Greg, Bob's on. So he tuned in, he called in, and probably you can hear that in the archives, and he introduced himself, and he came down to the station within an hour or so. So we spent, 3 in the morning till 6 talking and getting to know each other. And he told me all about the show that he was doing that I had started. So then he started having me on his show a lot. And he had a colleague, Daniel, who didn't like me. So I'd come on and Daniel would try to make fun of me. He even had the gall to make fun of Carolyn, the best doctor in the world, but he didn't. He was ignorant. Anyways, Greg and I carried on periodically through the years, 2001, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I was going to go to Toronto in 2007, and I had all my archives on cassette tape. Greg, I knew, was a good digitizer, so I took all my archives and dumped them on Greg in October 2007. He took the next few months to digitize all these cassette, me talking. And when I came back to Toronto in April 2008, I got the digital stuff, and then I moved to Hawaii. So I didn't see Greg again until 2014 and haven't seen him since, but his show ended on CKLN. So then he came and started participating in our show, my show, over the last year and a half. So, and Greg is a very odd mind. He thinks North Korea is a great social system. He celebrates the dictator of North Korea. He's a leftist in a way, but he's an eccentric leftist. So he is also a great animator. That was his career back in the day. So someone says Greg was a Disney animation creator. For those that don't know, yes, he was a gifted kid, and he got into animation at the age of 17 over in England. They hijacked him from Toronto. So he has this artistic ability, but he's quite opinionated, and he often doesn't like my friends on my show.
Somebody says, can you reach this type of thinking without financial freedom?
No, final freedom, but maybe he means financial.
Yeah, I think he means financial. Yeah, financial.
You certainly can. If you find this strange and odd, just start listening to this show regularly and engage the show. It'll give you new techniques or just habits or a different way. All I'm doing is being open-minded and paying attention to whatever I engage. When I heard of William Irwin Thompson, I paid attention to his books. When I heard of McClinton, I paid attention to him. If you got someone, I might have time to pay attention to someone you recommend. I know a person in LA. Do you think a lot of these people are in LA, Jack?
Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, you know a lot of them. You know some of them.
I don't know the people that are on here now besides Kinley. Deuce. I don't know who that is. He's been on here the whole time.
Okay, they could be anywhere. Anyways,
anywhere.
Okay. I have a good black friend in LA named Tariq, and he's been on the radio a lot there as a interrupter. Oh, look at that. Ike is
He's
in
from Maryland. Oh, well, shout out Maryland. Shout out Maryland. How'd you hear about this, bro? Kevin, how'd you hear about the show?
Columbus, Ohio.
The guys from Columbus. All right, thanks for stopping
San Francisco.
in. Okay.
Why would they be listed? How do they find you, Jack?
Michigan.
Is Instagram scheduled you?
Nah, I mean, that's what I'm asking. I want to know where did you guys hear about the IG or the show or me or whatever? Curious. Oh, kept one guy
Ike follows you.
Okay, okay, nice. DMV.
You know DMV?
That's DC, Maryland, Virginia. It's just like that's what DMV stands for.
Yeah.
Algorithms. Deuce found out from the algorithms. So I guess Deuce doesn't know. It just showed up. My man Mitch, appreciate it.
What's the MA? Is that Mia, the singer, girl singer?
Where?
Laffy, just been a fan since the MIA days.
Oh, Miami. Since I played basketball at Miami.
What do you think of Mia? You know, the girl from London, a designer who had a couple of hits 10 years ago. Radical girl.
Her name's Mia?
What? Yeah, I think she sang. She was invited to sing at the Super Bowl thing, and they censored her. I think her name she's called Mia, M-I-A. I think it stands for something.
I don't know. If anybody knows what that is.
Mia. Look up M-I-A. Look her up. Basketball training. Oh, yeah. You have the basketball thing. Ah, okay. Yeah, Kenley might know her.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about her, Kenley.
Oh, M-I-A. Oh, M-I. Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Oh, I see.
I know who M-I-A is. Yeah, Paper Planes. Okay, I'm tripping. I don't know. I was
Did
thinking about
you?
Mia. Yeah,
Were you?
Okay,
Is she
okay.
still around?
No, I haven't
She
heard of
had
her.
what?
I haven't heard of her since that song.
Okay, well, she grew up in Indonesia or something. Her family's got in trouble. Then they ended up in London, you know, immigrants and not in a good situation. But she rose up with her fashion talent and then got into the music industry. She's opposed with aliens. What does that mean to be opposed with aliens? Do you oppose as aliens?
What's that mean, Kinley?
Oh, she's working with Farrell.
He's working with who? Oh, Pharrell.
What did you think of her marathon? Did you like her? Was she crazy? Was she interesting? Was she creative? Well, I guess he's not going to say he didn't like her. You know, I mean, he's going to be polite. Hey, what did Kenley win a Grammy for?
Hey, Kinley, what you won a Grammy for, Kinley? I forgot. I don't know. One of those songs. He had a couple joints.
Well, what did he win? What does he do? Does he perform or does he produce?
He does like production, produce, and management, stuff like that. He represents. He
As
does.
a manager.
He reps some artists and stuff. He does some stuff production.
And you can get a Grammy doing that?
Yeah. If you like the
Oh, you
producer.
mean it's one of your people wins a Grammy, you get to walk on stage and you can claim you're part of it.
Not everybody. Like if he manages a producer that wrote on a song, that's his Grammy too because he owns the producer. You know what I mean? He manages the producer.
Right. So he worked on the Beyonce album Lemonade. Sandcastles was the song. Interesting. Yeah, Kenley has met a lot of people in the LA area like yourself, right?
Yeah, he's met a lot of people. I mean, Kinley was kind of, you know, his dad was partners with Bono, the big artist. So
Oh yeah.
at a young age, you know, Kinley's dad started a big restaurant business, so they became very wealthy very fast. You know, so when you're in that world, you meet a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? And Kinley still is still, you know, in that circle. But
And in all that sophisticated world that he met, he's never met anybody like me and Carolyn. He's very impressed with us.
yeah, he is very impressed with you.
If you think we're fake, just talk to Marathon Music. He'll tell you how non-fake we are. Even though ultimately he's not sure. He's not completely sure.
he's not all the way in.
So I'm looking at, you brought up these topics. Let me see if I can get them. What is it, Jackie? Okay. You had a list of topics. Let's see. New science. Well, I start off with that. Talking about Carolyn.
Okay, that's new science.
The social Netflix movie Extensions of Man? I don't know that movie. Oh, the one about McClinton in 1967.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was talking about the movie that's on Netflix now, but also how McClinton was talking about these things a long time ago in his book Extensions of Man. That's what I meant by that.
Oh, you're talking about the Social Dilemma movie?
Yeah, Social Dilemma. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that gets pretty close to describing the tech body. Look up that movie on Netflix, The Social Dilemma.
Yeah.
Interviews people in the Facebook world, and they get close to the fact that the algorithms are taking on a life of their own. Now, what people don't imagine is the intelligence they have now, like human intelligence. They know how to play with humans, or pretend, make humans think they're being played with. So it's the most sophisticated idea of AI has been realized and is running the information society since 2014, 2015. And they put Trump in, or it put Trump in. And they're going to put in whatever they decide this time. Okay, then Trump talking to the Nelk Boys and Lil Wayne. I mean, Trump is well guided by Jared Kushner. you know, his son-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
His son-in-law knows a lot of stuff.
Okay, so he knows like who to talk to get to gain this. Okay, got it.
Yeah, yeah. Jared Kushner is a very influential person in the Trump administration on all levels.
Well, your brother said he had something to do with it too. You know that, right?
It had something to do with what?
Dickie Dobbs, the thing that he did with the Nuck Boys.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah,
he knows us. What's going to happen to people if Trump wins? As so many people are pressing for him to get out. But there are many people who want him to win. It's about 50-50 maybe, or 60-40, you know? There's a lot of people, and a lot of people, if you look on, say, a friend looked on the Proud Boys site, or whatever they're called, the Pride Boys, and they brag about how they tell phone call pollsters. They say, yeah, I'm voting for Biden. So a lot of these high polls for Biden are not real.
Mm.
And so then when you think that the tech body in the end is going to make a choice, this is why, in a way, you got to look at this planet has been hijacked beyond any human nightmares. And you're still a lot like a Jack. He's sitting there comfortable. The world's been hijacked, and he's sitting pretty good. You got to notice where you are. And it's the tech body ain't out to kill everybody, though a lot of people are going to be plagued to death. What is this? Someone said, "Are you okay, Bob?" I've never not been okay. Okay, so, you know, what is going to happen if Trump wins? Nothing's going to happen to you if you're cool and understand that the media isn't talking to you.
But people don't know the media is not talking. Everybody thinks the media is talking to them because they're connected to their phone. Ask the question, Joe. That's
the new enlightenment method. You've got to learn how to disconnect from what you think is getting more and more involved in your life. Pretty soon they're going to target you personally, and everything will be all about you, and you'll believe it. Like in the Truman Show, that guy was in a tube, or even in The Matrix. Neo thought he was living in New York City. Mm-hmm. So you got to. This is the new course. This is new training, and maybe we can propose that's what we're doing. Yep. Not at university education, not spiritual gurus. None of that works. Not even Christianity. I know what the Bible is really about because of my source, and it's way different from what people think it is. So I'm not mad at Christians. I just think whatever you are, it doesn't matter. We're going to give you new information that you never heard of before. And we have solutions like the free energy battery and our complementary food.
Somebody said
in the 24 hours drug.
I was wondering if the 21-hour drug was wearing off side effects, maybe.
No. I have been accused for decades of being on speed. Never took speed. I don't even know how to get it or what it is. I've been accused of being on speed by many people through the years. Not on a drug, although my food is a drug, but a really good kind of drug. Look at Kenley doesn't like Bob being insulted. He thinks there should be more respect here.
Of course.
Money Mitch, 13. Smiling, I guess. Okay, so then you said, so it doesn't matter. Trump is, what's going to be interesting to watch how Trump reacts to the disappointing plague deaths that are coming. How's he going to handle the fact he might not get America back on the MAGA path again? Just too much crap's going to happen, you know? Now, Biden's not capable of anything. So we're looking at Kamala Harris. How's she going to react?
What do you mean? When you keep saying that, what do you mean Biden's not capable of anything?
He'll drop dead. They're going to kill him. He can't function as a president. He can't talk.
He can't. So how is he talking on these? So is he getting someone telling him things to say and then he's saying it? I mean, he sounds like he's okay. So he has something in his ear saying, yo, say this right now. Like literally every second, somebody's like, well, what are you saying? Oh, so that's why he says, hey, wait a minute. He gives him time to think about it. Is that why he does that?
Yeah.
Because somebody's telling him.
They pumped him up to perform on the debate. And it was such a big mega corporate effort that they had to arrest him for a week before he could say anything more. They put him back in the bunker. He outdone himself in the stupid debate. And
So
then
he
they
had to-
couldn't have another debate.
Oh,
Great
so-
thing Bob doesn't give a fuck. Well, I do pay attention. What I don't give a fuck. What don't I not give a fuck about, Jack? That's an interesting question.
Bob, somebody said marathon. You're slightly annoying as shit.
Yes. That's Deuce. He's mad because Kenley yelled at him. He's lost his sense of camaraderie. He's lost his sense of camaraderie because Kenley always fucks things up. He does it on the show. He causes fights.
Kenley just showing love.
Sounds good, little
Kenley
dude.
showing love.
See? Don't fall for it, Deuce. Marathon's a bot. Nah, man, he's just old and stuttering.
Bot.
I'm not old stuttering. You should see me jive. You should see me dance. You should see me hip hop. I'm fucking incredible.